Wow, what an intro. What an intro. Man, that was pretty tight right there. I'm still kind of bouncing to it. How about you, Bolo?
Yeah, I liked it. It was fine. I liked it.
Pretty tight, right? Pretty tight.
It was
Well,
fine.
ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're just going to start the show out by acknowledging brother Bolo TV, who's here with us tonight, and we're just going to chop it up a little bit about marriage, and we're just going to talk a few points. And what an honor it is for me to share the platform with this brother. I so admire him and his channel. If you haven't subscribed to Bolo TV, you should get over there and check them out and see what they're doing in the village. Excellent content, excellent content. So, how are you today, my brother?
I'm blessed, man. I'm alive, I'm breathing. Perpendicular. So can't get no worse than that, baby. I'm good. The
I
family's
heard
good.
that. I hear that. I hear that. How's the weather out there where you're at?
Man, it's getting cold, brother.
It's getting cold.
I already told you that I'm wishing that it snows out there. I already told y'all that.
Wow, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
jealous.
well, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I know the feeling, man. And being from Chicago, so I do know what that cold weather is like. Man, but I don't miss it at this point. Definitely, I don't miss it. So, uh, yeah, man, I know exactly how you feel, brother. So, what do you think about this topic that we're going to approach today? This topic of marriage.
I think it's a good topic. I think that it needs to be buckled down because I think a lot of people are having circular conversations pertaining
Mm,
to you know uh, relationships and things of that nature. So you know we got to get it together. So, yeah.
right, right, right. Yeah. And like myself, I've been married for about 21 years, and I'm sure that you're kind of up there too, aren't you, brother?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So we've had some experiences, throughout our marital relationships. so and it's not, a lot of people feel like, well, a lot of us try to get up here and present this perfect marriage that we're in when come on, there's some flaws, there's some things that we're still working on, if we were to be honest. You know what I'm saying? There's still more prayer to be had, you know what I mean?
yes,
So
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's the one thing that I try not to hide. You know, that this is definitely something that you have to maintain day in and day
Hmm.
out. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, yeah. So well, what we can do now is just we'll go ahead and we'll just talk about a few points and see where we go from there. But the first topic, or the first point, is anytime that we are approaching or thinking about marriage, because brother Bolo, you got a lot of young people out here who they want to get married, you know
Absolutely.
and they already have the type of wife that they want. She's got to be submissive, and she's got to be a certain height and a certain weight and a certain this and that, you know and but the first thing that we want to kind of hit on is there's a preparational stage that one should be in before they try to approach that type of commitment. There's a certain stability as men that we should be established somewhat. What would you say about that?
I agree. I agree. These youngins, they got a picture of what they think marriage is. They got
Hmm.
a picture. This world gives you a false narrative, a false story of what marriage is. Marriage is work, man.
Yes, it
Marriage
is.
it's not easy. Marriage is work, and I think that these young men and young ladies need to understand that, you don't walk into marriage and automatically become a wife.
Mm.
It doesn't work that way. You don't walk into a marriage and automatically become a husband. This is why when we read the scripture, it says, when A man that findeth a wife, it's a good thing. That means she was a wife. She had the pillars of what wifehood is already instilled in her from the elder women. And it's the same way. The men have that, uh, uh, the pillars of being a husband already instilled, so that when you do go into husbandry and into the wife world, it kicks in. Now you guys just mold each other and kind of acclimate yourself to each other. But the pillars of being a husband and the pillars of being a wife is already molded into you. It doesn't happen
mm,
when you become a husband. You don't become a basketball player when you're in the NBA. It doesn't
mm,
work that way. You already had the mindset and the skill set of being what you are in now. It's just that you're doing it professionally. But you already had the discipline. You had the know-how in being a basketball player.
mm,
NBA happens to be a place where you're playing basketball. So you being a man is about being a father, about being a husband, about being a leader, about being patient. All these things are in you. You just happen to be doing it while you're a husband or while you're a father.
mm. Wow. So we like to welcome Brother Clarence
Brother Clarence in
to
the
the
place.
panel tonight. Greetings, my brother. How are you?
Fine, man. Blessed is the best word I can use, man. How you
Yes,
two
sir.
brothers doing?
We're doing good,
Hey,
brother.
we're doing good, man. We're doing better now that you're here.
Absolutely.
Same here, man.
Yeah. So we got some experience here today on the panel. So that's good though. So in the preparation part of it all, what would you say that how do these young people prepare themselves for marriage, or is there a preparational stage?
Absolutely. The first thing I'm going to say is it's not on the young men or the young ladies. It's on the OGs and the OGs.
Mm,
Brother Clarence and I was talking about this a while back. We need to bridge that gap between us and them, because the only way they're going to be prepared is from the mistakes that we've made as elders, right? So we can tell
mm,
them the pitfalls and what not to do. Now, of course, they're going to have to bump their head up against different things, but they don't have to, pave that ground that already has been paved by us. So they don't have to
right.
make the same mistakes. They can make new mistakes. So I think that we need to, bridge that gap and let them know that, you need to be patient. You need to be
Hmm.
patient. And being that is, a lot of the times we put more patience in getting our credit fixed and looking for a house than we do in looking for a woman or looking for a husband. We don't take our time. We're very
Hmm.
impatient when it comes to finding this man or this woman that is supposed to pray over me. This man or this woman, this man is supposed to cover me. This man is supposed to lead me. This man is supposed to guide me. This woman that's supposed to multiply what I bring to her. This woman is supposed to be my prayer, uh, 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 my prayer partner. This woman that is supposed to be my neck. This woman is supposed
Hmm.
to multiply, be my pillar of rest. We don't take
Hmm.
our time to get to know these men and these women to understand what it takes to formulate this thing that we're trying to call marriage. This thing is not easy, man. This thing is hard. And
Yeah, it's
it's
definitely work.
a hard
Definitely is work.
work. And if you don't have that foundation of knowing who you are, it's easy for you to get swept away. It's very easy
Wow.
for you to get swept away. And people giving you, Brother Clarence and I was talking about, being swayed to and fro from the advice that you get, not knowing who you should let into your circle to build with you or to build into you, because we're gonna fall, right? So we're all gonna fall. So but if you don't have someone that you can trust, someone that you know that's going in the same trajectory as you or has the same trajectory as you're in danger. Because I'm not
Mm,
going to get advice if I'm an alcoholic and I'm messing up. I'm not getting advice from an alcoholic that's sitting right next to me in the bar.
mm,
You dig what I'm saying? I get the advice from someone that's been an alcoholic and beat it. So I'm not going to talk to a single person when I'm trying to get married. It doesn't make sense. What I can learn from them is the mistakes that they made so that I don't do it.
right, right.
So yes, there's a lot of preparation in before you become a husband, before you become a wife.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that, brother Bolo. Um, and then also you have to look at it from this standpoint also that to be a good husband, you have to be a provider. That's what we do. That's how we take care of our families. We provide for them. So, in other words, we have to establish ourselves financially somewhat, at least have some type of job to where you can afford certain things and, educate yourself as well. You see what I'm saying? Educate yourself so that you can get possibly a higher earning, a higher paying job. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot of times we jump into things, when we're not prepared, and then we wonder why we're struggling. Not to say that you don't struggle and you won't have any struggles, you know. But yeah, so brother Clarence, what do you think about that preparational stage before our young brothers are going into marriage?
It was like me and I think the three of us were talking, but I know it was me and Bolo was talking before when we were saying that. What he was saying that, and I agreed with him that you should be a husband when you meet your wife. You should be a husband.
Should
You know what I
already
mean?
be one.
Yes. Or practicing. Very high practicing because when you meet that special woman, you never know what stage they're in. They may be in the beginning stage of trying to learn how to be a wife, or they may be at the stage where they know what a wife is like. They maybe have been there before, and they know what it looks like, so they can hit the ground running, and they may not, necessarily have the circumstances to wait for us to grow into being a husband because it's a job you have to really learn on the fly, man. I mean, you can have books and you can have people tell you, right? But it's one of those kind of jobs where you got to learn by, getting your hands on the saw, get your hands on the hammer, and getting dirty, because
Yeah.
that's pretty much how you learn, that job. But some of the things that you would need is, some things that you want gonna want in a woman that to have for you. Those are some universal things like love and truth and
Trust.
trust, hard work, and
Yeah.
trust and faith stand in the gap of knowledge. So sometimes you don't know if somebody is going to do something, but you have your trust and faith that they're going to pay that bill. They're going to go get another job. They may have lost their job, but you have trust and
Mhm.
faith that they're going to get, through the higher power will, give you that feeling, that interpretation that, hey, this person, I know they fell on some hard times, but the kind of person they are, they're gonna go get up and go do it because, like Bolo said, things happen, man. Things
Man,
happen.
listen, definitely. I can remember a time when, I had lost a job, and me and my wife were married, and she was working, and for a man to lose his job is just so, it makes you feel like crap. You know what I'm saying? Because
Man,
and due to circumstances, however, I ended up losing that particular position. And so, of course, I got my unemployment, because, they do offer you unemployment.
right?
And so instead of trying to seek the same position over again, I utilized the time to go to school, you know. And so I was able to still have a little bit of income to help with some of the things in the home. But I went to school, you see what I'm saying, to be a surgical technician.
Right.
And once I completed that, then I was able to, and it took me about a year after that to even land the job. So my wife was really carrying a lot of the weight, with her job. But once I was able to make that move like that, and it took some time, but I prepared myself to provide, and so sometimes these things happen. you know you have to look beyond your pride and your ego at times. Listen, sometimes the stuff hits the wall. And so it's all about how you handle it, how you deal with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think the
But I got a
key.
question for you guys. I got
Oh,
a
oh,
question for you
oh.
guys. This is an age-old question. May I ask my question?
Yes, sir.
All right. Where does one go to find women who are who would be um, considered preparing themselves for wifehood? Where would one go to seek those types of women? Right? What do you
Of
guys
course.
think?
In the club. Are you kidding?
Ah,
No, nah. Scratch that. Pause. Pause. I'm just joking,
yikes!
gentlemen. I'm just joking, gentlemen. But you might meet her in there, but I wouldn't suggest it. But you know, but you're saying where to go to meet these women,
Yeah,
right?
man, a lot
That
of
that
these
that
young
are
guys
that
they
are
ask
wife
me a
material.
lot where to go. Where do you go? Where do you go, be wife? So I'm trying to get everybody.
Wow. And here's the thing. I believe that as you're taking care of your business, this woman is going to fall in your face. Not fall per se, but she's going to walk past you. She's going to somehow pass you by. You just have to be able to recognize who she is. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you're about your business, going about your business, you know what I'm saying? And you can stumble across her that way, you know. But then a lot of times, listen, we're so caught up in the packaging and the wrapping, and the ribbons and the trappings, that we really, are sidetracked off of who is potentially a good woman for us. Of course, attraction has to be there, but at the same time, there's something on the inside. You have to be able to tap into that part and see what's going on there. Because like they say, beauty is as beauty does, and beauty is only skin deep, but ugly is all the way down to that bone. You
Yikes!
see what I'm saying? So,
Yikes!
you know, but I mean, so many different places as you traffic, you just have to be attentive to notice her when you see her, because God will show you. What do you think about that, Brother Bolo?
Um, my answer would be that there is no place you can go out there and find a woman. There is no place. And
Mm,
what I mean by that is, it kind of pivots off of what you're saying. That, you know, anything and everything that's meant for you is yours. The only one that can lose it is you. If you're not disciplined enough, if you don't do the math and understand, because all of the offense that we go through, all these little things that we go through prepare us for the big events, right? So to answer Brother Clarence's question, when these youngins ask you, where do you go? The world, brother. See, when you're on your math, when you're on you, when you're doing what you need to do as a man,
yeah,
your radar's always on. So you don't know where you're gonna meet this one. You can meet it on the bus. You can meet it
that's
at the
right.
train station. You can meet it walking down the street, supermarket, club,
Strip
movie
club.
theater. You can meet it anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So there is no, in this world that we're living in, everybody wants everything microwavable, put in a nice, neat box, and give it to you. You know, and we spend so much time putting quality on us opposed to putting it in us, right? We're so caught up on looking at how someone dresses, how someone looks, the makeup, the car, the jewelry, the sneakers, the shoes. We're so caught up on that opposed to sitting down and actually looking at what's in it. Now, I'm not telling you that we don't have a physical attraction, but like Brother Vaughn said, beauty's only skin deep. The spirit lasts forever. So,
Mm,
after you see that car, plenty of us have seen cars that we like. When you get into the car and you start driving, you don't like the handle, you don't like this. You read, you start to learn about this car and you start to say, nah, this ain't for me. I don't want to invest my bread in this. And I think what happens is we're so quick to buy the car, what I'm saying, without sitting down and reading the manual. And then when we get the car, we already signed the contract. Everything is done and said. You can't bring it back. Now you're locked in. Now you have buyer's remorse.
mm,
So You know, we have to start wanting what we need opposed to needing what we want.
That's
Let me say it
good.
again. We need to start wanting what we need opposed to needing what we want. I need, like, what Brother Clarence said was so important. I need a woman that's going to be kind. I need a woman that's going to be forgiving. I need a woman that's going to be loyal. I need a woman that's going to be truthful. I need a woman that's going to be generous. I need a woman that's going to be patient. I need a woman that's
Mm,
going to be empathetic and sympathetic. That's going to be financial, health, protecting, nourishing. I need a woman that's going to be charitable. That's what I need. I need that. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Opposed to me saying,
mm-hmm.
well, I want a chick that looks good. And those things come in. If it comes, it comes.
Right.
The Lord knows what you need. And that's the thing. Needing, we need to start wanting what we need. I need these things because when I fall, I'm going to need a good woman with me that's going to help me get back up on my feet.
Mm-hmm.
These chicks, these dime pieces that these cats are wanting. A lot of these dime pieces, you talk to them, they don't have nothing in between their head. They really don't, and you can't blame them for it because at the end of the day, their looks has gotten them through their whole life, so they haven't had to think. So now when they need a man like a brother Clarence, Vaughn, and you have to think when it comes. Your looks don't captivate me like it does these youngins. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I've seen them all. So let's start. What's your 5-year plan? Where are you trying to go? What is your affiliation? With God. Where are you? That's when they start looking at you like you're a monster. Like this dude
Wow.
here is not going according to the plan of everyone else. And they start looking at you like you off because they've never been intellectually worked out. And
Wow.
that's where we need to start going. So if a youngin is going to ask me, Brother Clarence, where do you go to find a chick? The world. But it starts with you finding yourself first before you can find that chick.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Agreed.
absolutely, man. We definitely need to know who we are first, you
Absolutely.
know, because how can the blind lead the blind? See, we'll
There
both
you
end
go.
up falling into the ditch, right? So,
That's right.
well, gentlemen, let's move on, and I got a couple of more questions here, and um, so the next one is, how did you come across your wife? How did you meet your wife? If you can kind of give us a short scenario of how
My
that
wife,
went down.
my wife's cousin introduced us. So
Ah, okay. So it was a setup.
it was a yeah,
Was it a blind date?
absolutely.
Oh wow. Okay. See, ladies and gentlemen, blind dates work out now. And this brother has had plenty of good longevity in his marriage. So you know, so that's cool. That's cool. How about you, brother Clarence?
My wife and I were co-workers,
Ah,
co-workers, and I because she was very church going girl, very uh, you know, do the right thing type of person, and I was a heathen, so I was like, I'm gonna leave her alone, you know what I mean? I'll leave her alone because I didn't want God to be mad at me for deflowering a heathen. I mean, deflowering is this entity. Plus, like I said, my wife was at very her family went to church like almost every night. You know what I mean? So she was living that life for real, for real. So I wasn't really. I liked her as a person. I had no idea she was interested in me, and had been interested in me for a long time. I had no idea about that until another coworker told me about that, and then because I was seeing all these other girls, and anyway, I was seeing these other girls. So the coworker had told me, hey, so and so is interested in you, and I said, what? What are you talking about? I said, that girl's gonna marry a preacher. What do you mean? That girl's gonna marry a preacher. She's not. Why would she be interested in a heathen like me? And then, so she said, I don't know. And I said, plus, I'm actively dating, and she knows that. But the person was telling me she don't care. You know, and she got her eye on you, and she's gonna at least try to swing at you. And so, it took about maybe a year or so for us to keep talking back and forth. And you know, after a while, I said, let me give her a chance. You know what I mean? She's the only one I'm not playing games. Like everybody else is playing games. So I said, let me give her a chance. And so I gave her a chance, and slowly, we started going out, and then things just, grew from there. So Bo's right. You never know where you're gonna find somebody. You know what I mean? So, like Bolo said, you guys go out there to the script clubs. Go out there to the script clubs and meet your wife.
Wow. The
No,
strip
I'm just
club,
playing.
huh?
But let me clean that up. Okay, so what I'm saying is I agree with the brother because I had no idea that she was going to be my wife. I thought, we were just going to, be friends, and then it just kind of blossomed into something a little deeper, and then next thing you know, we were like engaged. You know what I mean? So you never know it could happen. You know what I mean? But here's something really important I want to say about that. I saw qualities in her that I knew I wanted in a wife. I just didn't know it was going to be her. She was very attentive, very sweet, very loyal. I mean, I saw, what I could best understand at that age as those kind of qualities I saw in her. And so, but I was like, this girl would never be I couldn't believe the girl was interested in me because I was so far off from what she would tell me. She's always sitting me down, cracking up in the Bible, telling me this and that about the Bible. Like, Bible, I got to get out of here, girl. I got things to do, right? So, but that ultimately, we just we were able to settle on the good, what we had in common. Like Bolo's always talking about having the things in common. We were able to settle on the things we had in common, which was trying to do people right.
Little intermission there.
That's not my beat. That's not my beat.
Oh, I thought Bolo was getting ready to kick it.
I didn't want, what I'm saying, that's his beat. He copywritten that. That's his.
Wow.
Hey man, I don't want to speak about the unfortunate events of the last Saturday that went by. You know what I mean? Where a certain person on the stage whooped on another certain person on the stage.
Not at all.
But
yeah.
You guys gonna have to go figure that one out. Hey?
Yeah, excellent competition. I thought both of you gentlemen did quite well. Just so happened Bolo took the trophy.
Yeah,
He
man.
ran off with the trophy, bro.
Yeah, that's all right. Man. You know what I'm saying? I already got my paperwork. I'm already filing with the commission to get the
So we're gonna have a rematch.
Oh yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
Sounds like a rematch to me.
You got all that stuff playing before the competition was done. You got all the paperwork.
Sir, I'm sorry. I'm getting the paperwork together now. We're getting all the paperwork. My people are getting the paperwork together. We are officially going to file the paperwork, and you will be notified, sir. You will be notified.
Absolutely. Okay. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wow.
Man, this is fun, y'all.
This is great, man. But so I'll just add mine in real quick. I don't recommend this to everyone, but like Brother Clarence, I met my wife on the job. We both worked together as dialysis technicians, and we started talking, and one day she brought me a lunch with some chicken and some greens and some.
Oh boy!
I mean, she just laid the lunch out,
boy.
And I was just like, what's going on here? This is awfully nice of her. So we got a little closer, and with the help of some of the patients, we were both dialysis technicians at the time, and the patients love to get in your business. So
yeah,
but they tried to hook us up, and so nevertheless we did hook up, and have been by her side. I don't believe we've been apart since our very first date. you know. And
Congratulations, brother.
yeah,
Congratulations.
and what the corny thing was when I took her on a date, I took her to Bible study. Now,
Hey,
and
hey, hey.
I was trying to be this upstanding Christian young man, you know, who hadn't really been to church himself in quite a while. But I thought that would be a nice opening to a relationship, is go seek God.
Yeah,
And so yeah, so after that, man, it's just been a journey ever since then. You know,
yeah, man.
it's been a journey ever since then. 21 years of a journey. And
Yeah.
so let's talk about some real stuff right now. Because we've all been married for a while. I think, what is it? It's probably 60 years between all of us here on the panel.
Probably, yeah.
you know. So, gentlemen, how do you deal with arguments? Because see, some people, they get up in these spaces and act like their marriage is perfect.
Haha.
God forbid there be any flaws, or you see what I'm saying, or any shortcomings. So, how do you deal with arguments? How do you deal with the argument especially, and listen, some of them may become heated. I've learned down through the years,
Hey,
yeah, yeah, but with maturity in a relationship, I've learned not to allow things to get too heated. You know what I'm saying?
that's the best way.
But in the beginning, yeah, because we're still learning each other. you
Right.
know. So, brother Bolo, I mean,
Yes.
how do you deal with that situation where makes you want to run?
Well, this is what we have to understand. Again, when you argue, someone has to win and someone has to lose. Okay? When you argue. And this is what you have to understand. In that thought process, when someone wins, do you really win? When you win an argument, do you really win? Right? Because typically that other person you broke down, that other person you ridiculed, that other person didn't get the point that you were trying to make. You guys were fighting. So the first thing I would like to try and say, you know, when you're getting into those heated conversations like Brother Clarence was talking about, walk away. Reset. Because when you're angry, there's nothing being heard. It's just two people trying to hurt each other, right? So,
Mhm.
especially coming from the man's position, right? We go with Colossians 4:6, and it says, "Let your speech always be gracious.
Mm,
Let it always be gracious." So, what is gracious mean? Because people have different breakdowns of it. It means courteous, kind, and pleasant.
mhm,
So, let your speech be courteous. So, if I'm talking to a brother, let my speech be courteous. How much more your wife? This is bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh, right? So let your speech be courteous, seasoned with salt. Now, what does that mean? That means that
mm,
when I'm talking to my wife, I have to hear what's being said, right? I have to hear what's being said so that when I deliver this food that I'm preparing, I know how to deliver it because I heard what she wanted. Does that make sense?
I'm listening.
You just can't give somebody something and expect them to take it because it might not be flavored to the way they want it to be seasoned. So when it says season with salt, so I have to hear what her issues are so that I can address it in a way that she can receive what I'm saying. So in other words, I'm not going to talk to her the way I talk to Brother Clarence. I'm not
Hmm.
going to do that. Why? Because first off, her makeup isn't the same. Secondly, she's not a man, so I'm going to have to deal with her differently. In a lot of it, in this world that we're living in today, men don't want to do that. You know, and women have set the tone to being called equal and all this stuff. So all of those things that would help them to get understanding pertaining to what we would say in a heated debate or a heated conversation is lost now because now you're telling me you equal to me, so now I can just give it to you the same way I would give it to a brother. And that makes this situation worse because now you're not going to receive it because the vibration that I'm giving it to you in is not the same in which you can receive it in, right? So it says, let so season with salt so that you may know how to respond. It's not about react, it's about
Mm,
respond. So when you understand why this person is asking or acting the way they're acting, and you're not emotional like they are, and you're not angry like they are, you have a better chance of getting through this heated conversation with some type of semblance of understanding than both of you being out of control. So typically, I would say if your woman is out of control, brothers, walk away, try to calm the situation down. Don't elevate and bring the situation to another level. Because when two people argue, one has to win, the other has to lose. And if one loses, you both have lost. Because if I'm talking to Brother Clarence and him and I in a heated argument and I win it, that means he didn't get the point that I was trying to make.
Hmm.
It just means that I made him feel bad, or I ridiculed him enough to that he just doesn't want to have this conversation no more, or the people are saying Bolo won this conversation. But did I reach my brother? Did you reach your wife? Did you reach
Mm.
your partner? Did you reach bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh, so that you, when you walk away from this situation, she trusts you? That's a thing that a lot of us don't work on. The relationship between Brother Clarence and his wife, Vaughn and his wife, is this woman trusts them.
Mm.
Trust goes a long way. So when you try to come in there and say that you're the king, the czar, the warlord, the president, whatever you put yourself to be as, Christ wasn't that to his wife. He
Mm.
wasn't that. When you're a king, you need to understand that you're more of a servant to your people. That's why David was such a great king, because he was more of a servant to his people than he was to himself.
Wow, that's excellent, man. I believe that what causes a lot of division in the marriages is the fact that many marriages lack uh, communication skills. You know, and see now, when you get two people that have a problem with communication, it's hard to hear each other. See, you thought I said this when I said that, and I thought you said this when you actually said that. Is because we have our selective hearing. You know what I'm saying? And so I've learned to listen, to my wife and reason. You know, you don't always have to argue. Sometimes you can sit down and reason together. And that still may be have some type of disagreement involved. You see, but I've had situations where, yeah, we've been outright upset with each other. You see what I'm saying? One thing that I can say that I did practice, because I was taught this by elders, don't let the sun go down on your wrath. You see what I'm saying? I know we're having an issue, we're having a problem, throughout the heat of the day. And let's if we have to reapproach it, let's reapproach it. Let's get it together before we go to bed, because I don't want to go to sleep with anger. You see what I'm saying? Because when I go to sleep angry, I'm going to wake up with that spirit, you know. And so, de-escalating the situation, you know, a lot of us, we let our pride as men, and we let our ego, take charge, of the conversations, because we are the leader, so God forbid I said something wrong. Absolutely not. I'm perfect. No, we're not perfect. You see what I'm saying? Your wife is a gift to you from God. And let's not negate the fact that he also uses her as well in the relationship to bring some truths to the forefront. You see what I'm saying? All of the truth is not coming from Brother Bolo. You see what I mean? Some truths are being put on the table that comes from his wife's mouth. You know what I'm saying? We're not just the gatekeepers of the truth. So we have to recognize when our wives are giving us direction. Some of us are beyond a wife giving you direction, but God will give her a word as well. Now, I'm not just saying do what she says. You have to weigh that out. But if your spirit is matching with her spirit, and both of your spirits are in tune with God, see what I'm saying? That's not going to be too hard to figure out. So communication is definitely key, and especially when you have these arguments, and just to be real about it, if you're in a place where you're constantly arguing, now that's an issue now. That's a definite issue. because argument here and there or disagreement here and there, that okay, that could be kind of natural. But when you frequent an argument all the time, you see what I'm saying? Now it's time to kind of look toward other means to try to settle that situation, because sometimes things become so deep seated, you know, and resentment and all of these things can set in, and see, it leads you down a bad road. You know what I'm saying? So I would suggest counseling. Nothing wrong with getting some counsel. Nothing wrong with getting that third opinion, or that mediator, or you know what I'm saying? And that could be quite healthy in a relationship as well. You know, but when me and my wife, and especially when we have kids, when my son came on the scene, see, now I have to deal with her a different way. You see what I'm saying? Because I want him to understand, this is how you respond and respect your wife, your girlfriend, or whoever the female is. You see what I'm saying? So he doesn't hear me flying off the handle yelling at her, and I don't allow her to yell at me either. You see what I'm saying? Now, there was a time when we used to use that method of walking away. I'm not the type of walk away person. I like to meet it head on. Let's sit down and talk about this. What is it about this situation where we can't sit down and talk about it? Not yelling and screaming, not cussing each other out, not doing all this body language that represents that I am not willing to hear what you're saying at all. You'd be surprised. Just body language can set off an argument in a relationship. You see what I'm saying? And it's the truth. Because your actions speak louder than words a lot of times. You walk through the door. She says, "Hey, baby, how you doing?" And you just say, "Yeah, I'm all right." You see what I'm saying? You know, your body language. So yeah, the way we handle arguments in this house is that we first of all, we have to recognize that there's an issue. You know, and our aim at that point is to get past it. So what is it that we have to do to get past this issue? So yeah, that's some of the things. How about you, Brother Clarence?
Well, when I first got married, I guess I spent the first 6 or 7 years wanting to win. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're in an argument, you want to win. Like, yeah, girl, yeah, yeah. Who the man, right? But like Bolo was saying, see, I had to learn how to get the team win, not the individual win, but the team win. See, I may have won, and in my mind, win means that I got the last word. But what good is the last word that I got if the same issue comes around next week, and in the week after that, and the week after that? That means nobody's listening to nobody, right? So I had to learn how to get the team win, where okay, I'm no longer looking to win individually, because I can't. In a marriage, you're not going to individually win. Either everybody wins or nobody wins, right? So you have to, at least this is my experience, have to go for the team win. So what's the team win? The team win is when everybody's on the same page, moving in the same direction for the same purpose, right? That's the team win. So just because I think things should be handled this way, and she thinks things be handled that way, and I, screaming and hollering at her, and she screaming and hollering at me, and then I say, "Well, then forget it, girl." Then and then I say, "Yeah, I won," but did I really win? Because now the same problem is going to come up again. When you get the team win, the team wins. Everybody in the house wins. This issue doesn't come up again, because I sat this person down and said, "Okay, we've been having this issue, and so I think your goal is like my goal, is to actually just deal with the issue instead of winning an argument, because that's not what we're here to do. Win arguments. We're here to move together as a family through this. crisis, right? Through different things, right? Marriage is all about adjustments, right? Sometimes things are good, you adjust to that. Sometimes things are not so good, you adjust to that. Sometimes you get a baby, sometimes you don't get a baby. I mean, it's all about adjusting, right? So, but that's the thing, man. It's been my experience that if you go for the team win, where you sit everybody down and say, "Okay, guys, I'm not, I may be in charge, but I'm not, this overlord. I'll at least listen to what everyone has to say, and then I'm going to make my decision. And this is why I'm going to make my decision, and you kind of explain things to everybody, and then explain to them the end goal. What's our end goal? Our end goal is to not have this issue come up again, right? You don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. Okay, so this is the best way I think that we're not going to have to deal with this. And then off you go, and then sit everybody down. That's the way that's worked the best for me. You know what I mean? Because all that hollering and screaming, man. Brother Clarence is not a hollering and screaming type of guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't do it.
You know what I mean? I'm not that guy, man. I'm so quick to say, okay, if you want to be like that, then I'll just put you out in the doghouse. And so, in the doghouse is really a waste of time for the whole relationship. But sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's not. But that's the kind of dude I am. So I know that. So I say, okay, we got this issue, we got this problem, right? The clothes are being washed on this day. That's not working. Let's wash them on this day. Well, why? But that's easier for me. Well, okay, but let me explain to you what's going on when you do it like that. Okay, let me just explain everything. So to the young fellas out there, you got to find your own path. But the best path, in my opinion, is the team win, not the individual win, the team win. It's like basketball, baseball, any other sport. We got multiple people reaching for the same goal.
Wow, yeah.
Also you have to realize too that the only time 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 is in marriage.
Is it what?
The
Is
only
it
time
marriage?
1 + 1 does not equal 2 is in marriage.
Okay.
And I think that if we focus on that thought process that Brother Clarence was talking about, is what would be very prevalent in how you would move. So,
It's worked for me, man, on a lot of occasions. But like I said, brothers, I had to grow into that. I had to we hit we had some stops at Compton a couple times, so we've been there,
and and it's work. Marriage is
work.
work. It's not just something that you. And listen, after all of these years, we're still working.
and that's what people don't get.
We're still working on it.
That this is not static.
Right.
Right.
It's always in flux. There's always something moving. So anytime you think something else is buckled down, it's like trying to put that sheet down during a windy day in a picnic. You know what I'm saying? And when you have that one portion of the sheet down, the other one is moving. When you go to get to that one, the other one moves.
Right.
It's always in flux. And the one thing that has to keep you grounded is the Father. And knowing that both of you are here. But it's on us as men. This is why, the first thing that you asked was about these youngins having examples of what men look like. And I'm not just talking about cats that lay pipe and get all these chicks. We're talking about what real men are. You know what I'm saying? Real men. They need these examples. Brother C and Vaughn, they need these examples because the examples of men that these guys have are really punks. Cats that just leave. They don't stand like what Vaughn, like Brother C said. We gonna deal with this issue. They don't deal with it. They pick up and they bounce and they blame everybody else for their problems opposed to looking in the mirror and taking accountability. So that's something that's taught. That isn't something that you just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I got it." You know what I mean?
Right.
There was a dude that asked Bruce Lee, "Can you teach me how to kick?" And Bruce Lee said, "The kick." And I've always wanted to understand what did he mean by that. And then it clicked to me. Bruce Lee can only teach you technique. You have to have that zeal and that want to kick. All he can do is take it and help you hone, give you technique to get better at it. But you wanting that zeal, you wanting to get up and be in that dojo, and bro, see, you can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And you wanting to do it, that has to be something that you have within yourself. No man, no woman can give you that. That is something you need to you have to come to the table with it. And that's the thing. These things have to be taught. It has to be taught. You're not going to just wake up one day and say, I got it. It doesn't work that way. These are behaviors that are taught.
And also, in my opinion, fellas, it's some understanding that also, kind of can get broken down to you. Like, hey, man, this is a better way to do this, right? Because Sister Lyric had a good comment out there talking about how marriage, just because it's a issue, doesn't mean the marriage is in trouble. A lot of these guys think, because there's an issue, there's a crisis comes up in the marriage, right? You're not having sex all the time like you were, or there's some other issue that comes up that becomes a crisis. Now a lot of these guys be like, oh man, the marriage is over. Or same thing with female. Female be like, no, the marriage is over. But it's not over, it's just a challenge. Because marriage is not like Brother Bolo said, it's not static. It's you constantly going over it, you constantly going past it, you constantly checking it out. Constantly. Every so often you just checking out, making sure the other person's at the same place on the same page as you, right? Because people get disoriented sometimes, right? Your wife may pick up a new friend, and because of the friends living a single life, your wife may get disoriented. You may have to check back in with her and say, hey, sis, I understand you looking at their life and saying, what if, but this is where we're at now. And so we got to kind of focus our energy on this. That person, maybe not so much time can be spent with that person because of the effect that they're having on our relationship, our marriage, our family, right? But some brothers will be like, oh man, she for the streets, right? It's like, oh.
I see that there's a conversation happening in the chat, and I just wanted to address it. Do you mind,
Mm-hmm.
Brother Clarence?
Of course not, brother.
Go right ahead, man. Yeah.
There's a conversation going. There's a conversation
Hey,
going
Vaughn,
on.
I'm gonna call him right when he's doing this live stream, or I'm gonna text him again. I'm gonna text. Oh, brother.
Hey, Bolo, I'm surprised he's not texting you now.
Where's my phone? Where's my phone? Where's my phone?
While you're on the panel.
Right now.
That's why I love him, because he's going to text me. Hey, brother, what's going on? He texted me the other day. I had to breathe, and I happened to make the mistake of breathing on his name, and we're in the middle of the prayer, and he texts me and say, "Hey, brother, why do you have to say my name that way?" So in the middle of the prayer, I had to text him back and say, "Brother, I had to breathe. My bad. I apologize. I will not breathe during your name again. Okay? I will continue moving." So what I wanted to address is this: the thought process that we have as men towards our women. Our ultimate example is Christ, right? Our ultimate example is our Lord and Savior.
Agreed.
And I want cats to understand that, we as men, we take a certain position, right? And that position, I get where we get it. I get why we feel that way, but it's off. And the scripture that I want to read is Jeremiah chapter 3, and I want you guys to understand what's being said. It says, they say if a man divorces his wife and she goes from him and becomes another man's, may he return to her again? And she already has been with another man. She's married. I mean, she's having sex with this dude. Would not that land be greatly polluted? So the Lord is telling you, would she not be defiled? Now listen to what he says in the next verse. But you, talking to the men, but you have played the harlot with many lovers, yet you
Mm,
return to me, says the Lord. So the point that I'm trying to say is this: we have to understand in here, we can't, you know, Christ is our ultimate example when it comes to patience. So the point that she was making, truth, in the point of Christ's suffering, she's right. She's right. We take that position, and this is why when we read Ephesians 5:25, what does he say? He says, husbands, you know what I'm saying? Be willing to sacrifice like Christ did for you, not only in making things happen, but in the suffering. How many times did he tell Israel, yo, I'm here? And how many times did Israel turn their back? So
mhm.
we have to understand and give that same grace that there's going to be issues. You're going to have issues with your wife, brother. Don't get it twisted. You're going to have issues with your wife. You're going to have
Mhm.
issues with your wife. Understand that. Why? Because he had issues with his.
Right.
So this is the part of the growth that we have to go through.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand that. So what do you say, Bolo? I said what I said. I don't
Well,
care.
I'm trying to figure out. This is what I'm trying to figure out. Why is there such, and sometimes when you type in caps, it could be
No,
misleading where you're coming from, but we're really not trying to promote anything negative,
not listen.
and if we disagree, it's okay. But
We
you
have to
know,
have
um,
conversations,
we,
Vaughn.
we 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 want people in the chat to kind of chill and be a part of the conversation, not get so upset. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know what? We have to have conversations because people
Yeah, I
are
get
coming.
it. I
No,
get
no,
it.
no. What I'm saying is people are coming from different places. Have conversations because people are
Y'all should
having.
speak.
I get it.
I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
go ahead.
What I'm saying is people are coming from different. You got a lot of.
Hold on just a minute. Brother Bolo, go ahead and finish.
So we have to have these conversations, not in a vitriolic vibe or spirit. We have to
Exactly.
understand what
That's
Christ,
all I'm saying.
yeah,
Right.
no doubt. We have to understand what Christ was and is. A lot of the times we get it conflated. We have to understand what he was and is. So we can have the conversation. There's nothing wrong with having it.
Okay. Well, we want to welcome Brother Truth to the platform. Good to see you, my brother. What say you?
Hey, what's going on, gentlemen? The conversation was going well for a while. I was enjoying myself, enjoying hearing the knowledge and information and everything. But seems like your eyes wandered down, so I came up here to address y'all since y'all want to address me down there.
No, I didn't.
So once again, uh, I understand and I serve my God well. And the thing is, the ones who sin most understand how extensive his love is. So I understand about his grace because I needed it. I needed it. So it's nothing nobody can tell me about that. So what I stated was I'm down in the comment section, so I can pull this up right here so I can read it. Uh, your dear beloved said when I stated said Jesus suffered and endured pain throughout his love for us. It is prideful for us to think we will not encounter the same. It has nothing to do with each other. So then I said, that's conflation. Jesus' suffering cannot be compared to man's suffering. That's actually disrespectful because we still don't, even though we got the book, we still don't even understand on his magnitude of what he endured, what he went through, what God actually prepared for us. We don't even understand. What we got in that book is a CC, a drop inside of a syringe. We will not understand God's plan. We will not understand his suffering. We will not understand any of those things. His thoughts is not our thoughts. His ways is not our ways. And that's what I said. And what I said is what I said. It broke the way Bro Clarence would say it. I understand that's your homegirl, Doug, but she didn't need your rescue. If she wanted to go, if she wanted to speak, you let her speak.
Okay.
That's how it is.
May I respond now?
And that's all I had to say. You can respond. You good? Because I don't want to mess up the whole entire show because y'all was doing so great until your eyes wandered. Bro Clarence, you have a blessing. Vaughn Bryant, Brother Bolo, love you, dog.
Yes.
Just
Love you too, brother.
go the right way because I don't want to stray. I don't want to stray. I don't want to stray. So I'm trying to make sure that this beautiful thing can get going. Let's take it off of me and let's get back to the thing.
No, well, let me just say this, then we'll take it off of you. Now, when you say that, when you say what you say, that there's a misinterpretation with it. Because when you say that the suffering that he suffered, that it's nothing compared, we know that. But when we read the scriptures and the Lord says that the world hated me, it's going to hate you. So you're going to go through the suffering that I went through. Now, of course, we know it's not going to be on the magnitude that he went through because he took the suffering of the world. But when you say that we don't suffer because of him suffering, that's wrong. The scripture says that the world will hate you because it hated me. Does it not say that, Bob? Am I off when it says that?
Scripture said that.
Okay, so you're wrong when you make that statement. So you can't be so strong with it when you're wrong on that statement. We are individually going through our own suffering and conjoining in marriage, we're going through it. We're going to go through it. So what the Lord wants us to do is persevere through it the same way he persevered through his suffering. The suffering that we go through in marriage, that we go through individually, it tempers who we are as men and as women. Because I don't know what my relationship with Vaughn or Brother Clarence is going to be until we go through some stuff. When we go through some stuff, then when the smoke clears and I see Brother Clarence and Vaughn there, you solid in my book. There is no question. So when I'm with my wife and we've gone through hell and back, you're solid in my book. And that's the point of it. We both have to go through that because we both have to solidify our relationship. It's the same thing we do with the Father, brother. The issues that we go through with the Father, when you trust in him and you see that trusting in him and having faith in him works, it builds your confidence in him. This is how you become more than a conqueror. It's faith which breeds trust, which breeds confidence, which makes you a conqueror. Because now when you walk in trust, when you know your woman is it, you walk in that faith of I know. I don't think, I know. And when you know, you move in a different vibration, a whole different vibration. So I can sit here and say, I know Vaughn and I know Brother Clarence are solid. I know them outside of YouTube. Mm-hmm. So that's solid. So I walk with strength in that. So when we sit there and say that we're going to go through our shaping, which is the pain and the suffering, that's our shaping. That's our shaping. Because at the end of the day, you can't not go through that and say that I am a servant of the Lord. The Lord says you have to. That's why he says, endure. Endure to the end. That's why he says that. So when you say
endure hardness as a good soldier, huh?
And not only that, he tells you that my children I chastise. If you're not my child, I'm not going to chastise you. And if you have not been chastised, you're not a child. So these scriptures conflate with the breakdown you just gave. Because Christ tells you you're going to go through pain because I went through it. That's how you're going through the fire of affliction. We're all going to go through it, individually and in marriage. And that was the point that she was making, that it has nothing, most of the time, not to do with marriage. It has something most to do with the individual being shaped in the image of Christ. That's what it has to do. So now we can go on with the show.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Me personally, I don't like to argue scripture. And I know we get into it sometimes and everybody's right. Everybody's right because, they know the scripture. And, it makes the conversation a little one-sided at times. You know what I'm saying? And even if you do have a good point, ladies and gentlemen, you can always get up here in meekness and humbleness and share it. You know what I'm saying? We don't always have to be so dogmatic when we're trying to share a word with each other. And if there's something that you have to tell me or share with me, you see what I'm saying? When you do it in the in the realm of love, you see, I'm more apt to receive it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're
Okay.
going to take the word, if you're going to take the word of God, however right you are about it, and
Right.
browbeat an individual with it, see, now
Mhm.
you're weaponizing that word to me. And see,
I-
I'm less likely to receive. You know, I have selective hearing. It's all about how you approach me in a conversation that causes me either to hear you or not to hear you. You know,
Now,
and
wasn't that
so, you know, and I see this a
that's
lot.
right.
I see this a lot. I see this a lot in these spaces. You know, it's like you can be going on the right path, and then it's always somebody that you know, wants to just put a monkey wrench in it all. You know, and it's not always about being right. It's not always about because you know the letter. You know, the scriptures say the letter kill it, but the spirit is what make it alive. You see
And
what I'm saying?
let me ask you
And
this.
so we listen when we talk to each other, and it kind of, you know, saddens me a bit. You know, we could be so harsh when it comes to the word and how we share it. You know, we become so boastful, you know, boisterous in our Christian walk because see, I know how to walk and I know how to talk and I've lived it and I'm living it and I am it. You see what I'm saying? But then the Bible says all of your righteousness is as a filthy rag in the eyes of God. You see? And he who says he's without sin is a liar and the truth is not in him. So I think we could uh you know, talk in the type of way where we can all receive what each other is saying. You know, but when you approach a conversation and you're already closed off, see what I'm saying? Well, there's really no purpose for the conversation. Just make your point and just keep it moving, I guess. But if you want to get an understanding and you want all of us on the panel to understand, then by all means, let's make that happen. And tone is a definite issue when it comes to how you approach people. Tone is
Well,
a definite issue.
well, that's why I read before we started.
And respect is another issue. You see what I'm saying?
That's why before we started, I read Colossians 4 and 6. Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know and ought to answer each person. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, it's not about being angry. It's not about being vitriolic. It's about trying to get clarity. That's why we're up here.
Yeah,
We take the
but
time,
see, that's the aim. But see, brother Bolo, that is the aim of the enemy. Now, I'm not going to put it on an individual person because see,
absolutely.
I know how the devil moves and how he comes to sow a seed of
Right.
discord, and I'm not putting it on an individual. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, come on, you know, we can all do better at this. We could do better at this. You know, there's absolutely no need to come up here and argue and cause discords like that. It's no need for it. You know, if you got a good point to make, by all means, go ahead and make it. I'm open. I'm open to hear the word, but at the same time, you know, in what spirit are you bringing it in? So, with that being said, Queen, how are you?
Hey, Queen.
Hi, guys. Hello, gentlemen. Thank you so much for coming on here. I mean, I caught the tail end of what's going on, but thank you beforehand. Conversation about marriage and the maturity that you all bring. Thank you so much because we need more platforms like this or panels, you know. So yeah. So I just want to say hi
Hey,
and support. But I don't know who said it earlier, but when you were talking about marriage and how um I don't know if someone said something about work and it's not always going to be easy, you know. Um I think being married, I think some people get in a fantasy of what it means, and they like the production of what marriage is, meaning the dress, the ceremony, the the show of it. and they don't really understand what it means to put in the work for it. You
Mm.
know, I know when I got married, I never said, "Oh, we're never going to go through that." I said, "I hope we don't go through that. I hope we don't. And if we do, I hope we get through it." I think there's too many. I think there are too many people who just get married for the show, and they don't
Hmm.
really, because they haven't developed the character to persevere in relationships outside of marriage,
Right.
and just in
Right.
personal relationships, friendships. Like, you hurt me, I'm done. You hurt me, I'm gonna get you back. There's no perseverance. So when you don't know how to weather the storms in life, period, you think you're gonna weather a storm in marriage. So that's what I wanted to say.
Wow. Yeah. And like,
You muted.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
And like I was saying earlier, marriage is definitely work, and in order for us to have maintained the longevity that me and my wife has, you see what I'm saying? Because, you got a lot of people talking, but they're
yeah,
not doing the work that's necessary. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? And you have a lot of people who are just not willing to do what it takes to have that type of commitment, you
yeah,
know. And a commitment is, and I can say this for me and my wife, you know, the commitment is that we made a vow to each other through thick and through thin.
yeah,
See, through hell and high water. You see what I'm saying? That don't mean you just go to running when the going gets tough, you know. So we have to sit down and try to figure out how to settle our issues. And so this is what has helped us to have longevity in our marriage. You know what I'm saying? And being kind to one another. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to walk around mean mugging all the time, even if your feet hurt. You know, have your significant other rub them for you. You know what I'm saying? You may be tired that day, and it doesn't mean you're going to smile 24/7. Some days are not a smiley day.
yeah,
And when you see your wife or husband like that, that's when you should kick in to bring some type of cheer. You know what I'm saying? What's the matter, honey? Are you okay? Is there something I can do to make you feel better? You see what I'm saying? It's nothing wrong with being kind, and that's what we lack it in a lot of these marriages. We're just not kind to each other because we have grown tired of each other. You see what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
gentlemen,
I
I'm
think
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Vaughn. I think we look at the wrong things as to what makes a good marriage. We think, oh, you gotta have that bag, you gotta have all this money, you gotta have, it's materialistic, worldly things that the media has put out there as to what makes a happy home. And it's not true. You can have
Right.
all the money and you're still unhappy. I mean, I always say that. Always say money doesn't make you happy. It's
Mhm.
you who makes you happy. You can be happy with
Right.
$5 in your pocket and be at peace. And you could have $1 million and be stressed out, worried, and die of a heart attack, or, end yourself with a heart attack. So it's not, and then we look at all these stars and all these celebrities who have deleted themselves, but they had the life we wanted. Why? Why are they deleting themselves if that's the life we should look to, or those are the things that's gonna fulfill us, you know?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I look at my family. I look at the things we've been through, and like how as a child, even if we had a struggle, I didn't know my family was going through anything, because my parents made it a point to do whatever they needed to do to make the children enjoy their childhood. So I found out later, hey, the lights was off. Oh, well, I just thought we was having candlelight dinners every night. You know, I just
Had no
thought we were,
idea, huh?
like, my, my mom was the bomb.com. She masked a lot of stuff that I had no clue as to what was going on until in adulthood.
Right. Right.
So I
That's
think
what we
it's
do
just,
as parents. We do that as
yeah,
parents.
but that's what you do as a team.
Yeah.
Because I had a father too who did the same. You know what I mean? He was there and he did what he
Hmm.
needed to do. So, you know, and I think I know you guys were. I didn't really hear the back and forth with the scriptures, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, the Bible says to watch your life and doctrine closely. And I think so many people preach something that they don't
Mm.
live. They preach
Amen.
something that they are not. And
Amen.
so the sheep, the wolf in sheep's clothing quickly gets revealed because they start talking and then they
That's
get
it.
upset. And instead of having a conversation, it becomes an argument. It becomes a yelling match. It becomes a debate when it's a conversation. My opinion is my opinion. And, you know, I'm open to hearing other people's opinions. But when it becomes a back and forth and an attack, you lost the whole purpose of the conversation.
Amen. Amen.
So I think that's sad because I
May
think
I,
Yeah.
may I,
that's why a lot of people run away from religion. That's why they don't like it because they look at they look at those people who claim and stand on that soapbox. Oh, love Jesus or Allah or whatever you believe in, and then they turn out and they're like something a mass murderer or something. You
Exactly.
like where did that come from? You just quoted a scripture. Now you flying off at the mouth. You cursing. You
Yeah,
calling
you're
people out
cursing
their
me out.
names.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you yelling, calling me
Yeah.
names, attacking my character. You know
Blessing and
nothing
cursing
about.
coming from the same fountain, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
tongue.
Well,
And
you
and
know,
I
we,
and
yeah,
you know, and I was told that a long time ago. I was told, you know, your mouth is a deadly weapon. You don't need to carry anything because your mouth is licensed to kill. You know, so I have to watch it because I get
that's
in my
right.
feelings and my tongue is very evil, you know. But I think we have to when you watch in your life and doctrine closely, you really
Hmm.
have to be mindful, like you the impact you make, whether you're directly or indirectly, you're making an impact on somebody. And what is the impact you're making? Is it for the better or is it for the worse? And that's what I try to think about more, you know. So yeah.
Wow. I
can I
really
add
appreciate. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother Bolo.
and that's the whole point. The whole point is about having a conversation. You dig what I'm saying? And the beauty of having conversation is things can go wherever it goes as long as we do it in decency and order. Let's let it go there. You know, there's plenty of times that brother Clarence will have a topic or whatever, and I've seen them have conversation and it goes left. But if you're willing to have the conversation in an open mind frame, you know what I'm saying? And even if voices are raised, sometimes it's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes people
Hmm.
get highly spirited.
Right.
I'm not afraid of that. No man or no woman should be afraid of that. But it goes to show that you start when your vibe is short tempered, and like you said earlier, you know what I'm saying. Now you see the vibe in which you see the conversation is going in. We can't have that with I can't have that with my wife. I
Mm.
can't. I can't do that. I can't sit here and come up and be calm, and then 5 minutes later I'm cursing you out. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. And
Yeah.
if you're gonna have a conversation with a brother, imagine you having this conversation with your wife. You dig what I'm saying? So a conversation. A lot of the times we listen to people on what they're saying, opposed to listening to the people on what they're not saying. And like what Queen said, a lot of the times they'll put up this front of being calm, cool, and collected, and when pressure's applied, they snap. They snap. And I think it happens to all of us. I think all of us have bad days. All of us have good days. We all fall under pressure at times. There's no man, no woman that it hasn't happened to and that it will not happen to. But it's the bounce back behind it. It's the bounce back. Our pride as man is what keeps relationships from working. The pride of man is, and when I say man, I mean man and women. The pride of man
Hmm.
is crazy. Because when you look at it, the pride of man is what makes you go the opposite way that you should go when it comes to the Father. Because the Father doesn't deal with a conversation that is not becoming of enlightening doesn't mean that it's not going to be hard. Don't get it twisted. He does have hard conversations, but he's not into cursing at people and things of that nature. That's not God. It's not Christ. Period. It ain't
And
Christ.
I would just have to tap in on because it's really not. You see what I'm saying? And people have so much to say about how you're living when they need to check how they're living. Because see, I'm not the type of individual that I'm going to say I love you today and f you tomorrow. I don't do that.
Well,
That's not in my character, and it's not in my spirit. And when I see people operate in that type of mode like that, it really makes me question the stability of the individual, because the Bible says that a double-minded man is unstable in all of his ways. So, we can sit and play the judgment game with each other and go back and forth about who's right. And, come on, man, it's just so pointless. We started out with a very, very good conversation. I believe that it was very beneficial to a lot of the younger people that could have possibly been listening. You see
still
what
is.
I'm saying? But, when you do good, evil is always present. You see what I'm saying? It's always in the background, whispering and chatting. You see what I'm saying? When you're trying to do good. So what we have to do as Christians, or whatever you call yourself, as a spiritually moral individual, you have to look past that. You see what I'm saying? You got to look past that and keep moving forward, because people definitely have a tendency to show exactly who they are, whether it's in the front or whether it's in the back. So with
Well,
that being said, listen, I've really enjoyed the conversation, Bolo. Thank you
no,
for giving your time, and brother Clarence. We went over some good questions. We talked about preparing, oneself to be married, and how to go about that preparation.
you did.
We
You
also,
had one question you had to ask.
do I
You know
have a
that
question?
you had that one last question you had to ask. I wrote it down. See, I was writing your question.
Oh, well, definitely.
You know,
Which one was it, brother Bolo? Do you have it written
how
down?
do you, how do you maintain your marriage?
How did we maintain the longevity that we
Uh,
have in our marriage?
yeah.
All right, now that's a good one. We can close on that one.
It's
Definitely, we can
a good
definitely
one.
close on that. But yeah, that's a very good question. How did we make it to this point? Did we make it with just being dogmatic and overbearing and controlling? Is that how we kept these women? Because, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be hard for you to keep a wife when you're dogmatic and controlling. See what I'm saying? That's one thing that we have to try to overcome and work past. You see? So the
Right.
longevity, man, and if I could just say this real quick, and I'll let Brother Bolo go. You know, we're in a place where we are committed. We've made a vow. You see what I'm saying? Irregardless to what goes down, we are stuck together like glue. But the main glue to that is respect toward one another. It is the respect that my wife has for me that helps me to have that longevity, that helps me stay. It is the respect that I have for her that keeps her from running out the door. We love each other, and we speak to each other as if we do love each other, you know, and we're not in front of a lot of people. So it's really no fronts to put on, but what you do behind closed doors, that's what really counts in a relationship, So man, you whatever you did when in the beginning, when to get her, you have to continue to do those type of kind, nice things. And brothers, there's nothing wrong with being nice and kind. Some people will call you a simp for that. No, that there's nothing simpleton about me at all. You see what I'm saying? I'm a man and I stand flat-footed. So, Bolo, could you just share with how it is that you came to have the longevity in your marriage that you have had?
First salute, be easy in the building. Um, having
Shout out to Be
conversations,
Easy.
having conversations. Being the man that the Lord needs me to be. You know what I'm saying? Because again, when when you are a man and you're talking about being a czar, a dictator, it goes to show what type of man you are and how you live, right? A lot of men that have that thought process are single. You know what I'm saying? So,
Wait,
you
can
know,
you say that again? Can you say that again, Brother Bolo?
and that have that thought process where there's czars, presidents, kings, and all that stuff, they're single. You know what I mean? So, um, it's a balance. It's a balance to, when to be stern, when to, admonish, when to be kind, loving, patient, charitable. It's you're on that teeter totter, because
Hmm.
you have to know what to apply and when to apply it. It can't be, you know, king, king, king all the time when she doesn't need a king. She needs a hug. She doesn't need a king. She needs a husband. She doesn't need a king. She needs a husband. She doesn't need a king. She needs a husband. It can't always be, that hard vitriolic vibe. This is why a lot of cats end up with shorties and end up in, child support, divorced, single. Same thing with women. When they have that vibe and they're so contentious all the time, on it, for no reason. You know, Christ wasn't that. And he had every reason to be. Every reason to be. He didn't do anything, but he took on the burden of man and still said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." So, how much more towards one another should we have that same spirit of patience, that same spirit of understanding, empathy, sympathy, that same spirit of charity and wanting to have this conversation? So, that vitriolic vibe, man, it's not going to get you far. It's going to get you by yourself and alone. That's what it's.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I agree. By yourself and alone. Brother Clarence, you've been so patiently waiting there, brother. I know you have something
He was
good
looking at
to
my,
share.
he was looking at my trophy and
Oh,
the belt.
he,
That's what he's
he was
looking
daydreaming about that trophy.
I told you, Mr. Bolo TV, that my people are filing the papers as we speak, and
at.
we're dotting all our I's and crossing all our T's to make sure that the rematch goes over real soon.
Whenever
So
you,
don't be like Julio and get too happy polishing those trophies up so fast, brother. Just relax. You can look at them right now, but you know what I'm saying. My people are definitely in the works of filing the proper paperwork.
absolutely.
All right, y'all. Oh no, I'm messing with Bolo, man. I forgot the question. What you guys think?
well, basically, how did you come to have such longevity?
Oh yeah, the longevity, the
In your,
longevity.
yeah, what?
Okay,
How did you
okay,
how did you make it to this point?
okay.
Now,
Here's
is it because you let her run over you, and you see what I'm saying, and you just whatever she said, you just did? Is that how that occurs? Because
not
inquiring minds want to know now.
Absolutely.
not brother Clarence. The longevity came in uh, God's being merciful and unwrapping the, like Queen was saying, the fantastic imagery I had of marriage, unpacking that and making me realize the realistic version of that situation, and then what's going to take to make that occur. Because if you be married for 10, 15, 20 years, people gonna make a mistake. People gonna misunderstand. There's gonna be misunderstandings. There's gonna be, oh, I thought you was gonna pay that, or I thought you was gonna do, stuff's gonna happen. So it's not gonna be perfect. Or I marry somebody, that's it, everything's perfect, right? So we're gonna have to have a little bit of forgiveness in us, because we're
Mhm.
gonna have to be able to forgive the other person, just like we want them to forgive us, and we want God to forgive us, right? I try to pattern myself after how God has treated me.
Mhm.
He's shown me forgiveness. He's shown me mercy. Now, do I think God is soft for showing me mercy? I don't think that. I don't think that. Do I think God is soft for giving me forgiveness? I don't think so. But that's me. You know what I'm saying? I try to pattern myself after he who he who does the best at everything. And then therefore maybe some of that I can express to the people around me, in particular my immediate family, right? But in particular, we're talking about wives, right? I have done wrong things. My wife has done wrong. I mean, we've all fallen short, as they say. So I have to learn how to forgive. And I have to learn how to not to jump to conclusions on things. Sometimes I may just be upset over something totally has nothing to do with her and bring that into a situation where it was unnecessary. So it's having in my opinion, and for me, let me just speak for me. And for me, I've had God has been very merciful to me, unraveling my brain as it was mush, unraveling my brain and showing me what's really important and how to get there, how to temper myself instead of running in and saying, "Hey, what's happening in this situation?" Be able to walk in and say, "Okay, guys, can we all huddle up here for a minute? Let me ask you guys a question because I don't know what happened in this situation." See, it's the same question asked a different way for the team win. And that's what I really had to get to the point where I wanted the team win. I wasn't worried about, I'm not trying to walk all over this person or have them person walk all over me, or I'm trying to, or get them back. Because the worst thing you can do in a marriage is have the attitude of getting someone back. Well, you did this to me, so I'm going to do this to you. And it just builds and builds and builds until the resentment gets so high, something really bad happens. So, in my opinion, it's better to always go for the team win. Always go for the team win. And if the people on the street saying, "Man, you a simp, man, you a simp. You bought your wife some flowers. You bought your wife for this or that or whatever." Okay. But, you know what I'm saying? I got somebody in my life that's going to be there for me, right?
Exactly.
I had issues, like I'll tell you guys the other day, I had issues where I had an illness where my wife literally had to bust in the bathroom and call 911 because I couldn't breathe, right?
Wow.
What would I have done if she wasn't there? I would have been saying, "Yep, that brother Clarence, he was a good soldier," right? I would have been gone, right? But she was there. Thank God she was able to make that call, get me on that stretcher, and get me out to the hospital, right? And God had mercy on me. So,
Wow.
people can think whatever they want to think, brother, because in the long run, like I said, in my opinion, whatever somebody think that's outside of your house, that's them.
Exactly. Right.
My wife, I do things, and she does things for me unsaid. Every morning she bring me a cup of ice and some ice water. I don't have to say that. I don't have to do anything. And if I'm up and strong enough, but why? Because she knows if I get up and I feel strong enough and I feel good enough that morning, I'm going to go in and make some breakfast for everybody. Unsaid. Nobody has to say, "Hey, I'm hungry too. Can you make me something?" No, this is unsaid stuff, but it's the what do you call it? The yin and the yang of it, where everybody's trying to go for the team win. Because if I make breakfast for everybody, then my wife don't have to stop and make breakfast for my granddaughter going to school, right? Because I already handled that already for her. Most of the time I do, but sometimes I ain't feeling too good in the morning. But every morning, that ice and that water's right there, right? Or my socks or whatever I need something, and she see I need it, she can get it to me. The same thing for us. So I just don't want that to be looked at as simple, or if it is, it is. Who cares, right?
Yeah, who cares, right?
It is. But the point is, man, I'm trying to emulate God's love and mercy that He showed me, and try to be a beacon of that to everybody around me, and to include and especially my immediate family. So that is what's been the longevity, man. Being able to forgive and being able. Oh, one last thing. Sorry, Vaughn. I know I'm going long.
But no, go ahead. We want to get Brother Razik in here also. So
okay. Humility. The humility to be able to say, maybe I was the wrong one in this situation.
Wow. That's an excellent point right there.
Because for the first 10 years, right, you as a man, I ain't wrong, girl, what you talking about? Man is fear. submit, right? You doing all that stupid stuff for the first 10 years, right?
Hmm.
You get burnt food. You don't have no wash clothes. You know, Bolo
Yeah.
laughing because he know he been there too. You don't have no
Wow.
you have no wash clothes, right? You know, you're like, man. And then after a while, you start realizing, man, we ain't get the team win here. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me.
See that, and
You
yeah,
gotta
you know, yeah, I tell my wife that all the time. Hey, and thank God for my wife. She's, I've never had to make a plate or anything. She takes very good care of the household, me. You know what I'm saying? She's a really, really good woman. But I have a little joke with her. I tell her, yeah, you okay in there? Because I don't want no angry food. And
Man,
when you get that angry food, you already know what it is. I don't want no angry food now.
yeah,
Let's
but
get it together. But
I definitely. It's the last thing I'm gonna say. Last thing I'm gonna say, Vaughn. I know Bolo want to get in, Razik and everybody. So please forgive me, all of y'all. But I just want the young brothers to know that there's nothing wrong with being humble. Nothing wrong with saying to yourself, maybe it's me. Maybe I
mhm,
could have did something different. Coming back to the drawing board and say, you know what, baby, let's sit down, let's talk about this. I was maybe I was the one today. So Clarence, you practice what you preach. While we was on this live stream right now, me and my wife got into it earlier today over something I had done. I had I had a I had a little fender bender, right? And my wife was like, "Man, I wanted to drive you, but you wouldn't let me drive you." I said, "I know. I
uh-huh.
thought I could handle it, right?" So I got mad at her for getting mad at me because I got to do a fender bender, right? But while we was on, I love you. You know what I mean? I'm sorry for the way I talked to you, and please forgive me for that. And so she sent me back the text. Don't worry, I love you too. And then send me a picture of me and her and my granddaughter, right? That's how I go, gentlemen. That's how I go, man. Never be never be too manosphere to say, I'm sorry, or maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it was me. It was my fault. That's it. I'm done.
Wow, thank you, brother. That was excellent. So, brother
Talk as
Razik, what
long
do you?
as Bolo.
I see, right? So, brother Razik, how you doing, brother? Yeah. Is brother Razik there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm here. What's
Hey,
going
what's
on?
going on, man? What you
What's
got
up?
for
Salam.
us?
Yeah, peace. I mean, I'm just, paying attention and just reading the room and listening to the topic that's being said. I really don't know what the topic is. I didn't see one in the title, so I'm just, I'm saying, observing. I really don't know where y'all are going with the conversation, but I've just been listening. Probably like maybe about the last like 15 minutes. So, I mean, unless there's a specific question, what I'm saying on the table, I'll answer that. But in the meantime, I'm just trying to gather a sense of where the conversation is going. That's all.
Oh, okay. So we were talking about marriage, and you have brother Bolo, who's been probably married about what 20 years, and brother Clarence probably around the same. I've been married
30,
for 21 or 30
32,
years for brother Clarence.
32, 32,
Been 32. All right, great.
32.
And I've been married 21 years. So basically, we were talking about marriage. How did we maintain our marriages? How did we come to have such longevity in our marriages? You know, and how to move forward. We talked about arguments. How do we handle arguments? We talked about how we met our spouses. And great conversation, man. I hate that you had to come in toward the end of it, but we really were making some very good points. But if you have anything to add, feel free, bro.
Nah, I mean, out of respect, this is definitely out of my pay grade. I'm definitely not married, so I don't know how much I can actually contribute as far as like what I'm saying, to substantiate anything versus what I'm saying, for gentlemen that have actually had the experience, what I'm saying,
Hmm.
versus in what anything that I may be able to add, what I'm saying, any insight. I mean, I have my own viewpoints on, what I'm saying, marriage, but I'm not about to sit here and, what I'm saying, try to combat something that I haven't personally experienced. However, I do have my own perception and my own thoughts of, you know what I'm saying, of I guess of a general sense of how I would approach, you know what I'm saying, marriage. But I don't know if that's the topic. But, I mean, and again, I'm just keeping a little listening here. That's all.
Well, we appreciate you being here, brother. I see you on the platform a lot of times, man, and I oftentimes appreciate your perspective. So, glad that you could kind of stop through, brother Bolo. What say you, sir?
Yes. You talking about longevity? Well, I think, Razik, you got a lot to add, you know, because when we first started talking, we was talking about, young men that are getting there. You know what I'm saying? Trying to get there, or looking at how, you know, to get there. Like, what do you see the landscape is towards, with marriage nowadays, and the ladies? Because you said you're single, so what do you see the landscape is, and how hard is it to traverse and things of that nature? So,
Well, I'll say what I do see is you know I've never been scared of marriage. Marriage is something that I think I've ultimately always wanted. I don't think I've always had the best approach, you know what I'm saying, as far as like my outlook on what I thought, you know what I'm saying, a successful marriage is. But however, I'm definitely not one to, to project and speak in theory as if like, if I get married, then what is, what if X, Y, and Z happens? Like I don't even talk like that. So I always have this in the premise of if I'm going to get married and when I do, divorce is never, an option. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely believe like marriage is a one time thing. I definitely do believe that a lot of guys out here are wishy washy and overcomplicating the dating process or the courting process that leads up to marriage. From what I'm seeing, other guys, speak about it. A lot of guys do talk about it in fear, especially the ones that are not married or have been, and then maybe had gotten divorced. Because when you start to hear the context, saying about like different things that have happened and why it led up to a divorce, then you start to see the issue. So what I mean. That's just kind of like something to what I see the landscape is. But I mean, ultimately, I just think women have always been women. You know what I'm saying? Women have always talked the way women do. I mean, obviously because of social media and the internet, everything is a lot more out in the open. So a lot of people are, showcasing their personal lives and, the ups and downs and different things that they encounter and how they move and how they act and how they react to different things, which is kind of painting a much vivid picture of somebody to, who may be on the outside looking inside like, damn, okay, well, I wouldn't do it like this, or I wouldn't do it like that. You know what I'm saying? But just overall speaking, and I've said this on numerous panels, I just think a lot of dudes are bitch, just to be honest. And a lot of dudes are not having a backbone and not, and not being able to tell their wife or their girlfriend no. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it's not in the best interest of the family concept and what needs to be done, for the betterment of the family and ultimately of the child. I mean, so that's my thoughts.
oh, well, I think that was a great, awesome answer. I think that was a great and awesome answer.
And she has to.
So
She
for
has
me
to.
to answer, um, we got the examples, man. You know what I'm saying?
So John has.
Yeah,
We
we
got
really need to be better examples of who
we
we
got
say we are.
examples,
But
man.
go ahead, brother Bolo. I'm sorry. Apparently, we're going to be winding this up, ladies and gentlemen, because Bolo has a program that he has to get to. And
Yeah, we good. We good.
are we
No,
good?
no,
Are
no.
we good? Okay.
You mean Bolo has a program? Bolo has a
Yeah.
YouTube page?
Yeah, he has a
He
YouTube
does?
channel. Exactly. Yeah.
What do they teach over there?
Come on, man.
Okay. I know they teach now, singing and rapping. Okay, I
If
got
you
it
haven't,
now. I got it now. Okay, all right. I'm going to go over there after this, man. I need to learn. I need to learn, man. I need to
And
learn.
winning. We teach winning too. And not the dancing. We're not into dancing, and that's on you. You can come over and teach the dancing part. I haven't gotten to that part yet. I'm too big to be dancing.
Hey, I walked into that one, Vaughn, didn't I?
But yeah, but listen, man. I think at the end of the day, when we're having conversations, the world is watching us, as men. You know what I mean? And so are these women. They're watching us. We have Queen Forever up here. We have other women in the chat. And they're watching how us as men deal with each other, because that's going to give them a snapshot of how you're going to deal with them. And vice versa. We should be watching women and see how they converse with each other and how they converse, and because that's how they're going to converse with you. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, just be the example that Christ was at all times, because you don't know who's watching. You know what I mean? You don't know who's watching, because when you have a certain thought process, and people are looking, because they're looking for anything. They're looking for anything and say, well, Vaughn was this and Vaughn was that, and that's why I'm not this. So we have to walk circumspectly in all ways, for those that are trying to become believers, for those that are watching before, they actually jump in, and for those that just don't care. There's a certain thought process that we need to have in conversation. And the one thing Christ always says, he always says, listen so that you may be able to respond. You know what I'm saying? A wrathless, I'm going to paraphrase the scripture where he says, a smooth answer can turn away a lot of wrath. Calm answer. So in other words, it doesn't mean that you can't get your point across sternly, but there's a certain way as men we should speak about it. You feel what I'm saying? And how we should present it, because again, we have other people watching. And that's the most important thing. So the conversation, I'm up to have it. Doesn't mean that I don't get pissed off, doesn't mean I don't get upset, because I think we all do. But as men, the one thing I want to continue saying, as men, because we talk about being a man all the time, right? We talk about men being this and men being this. Men don't get emotional in conversations that you can have when it doesn't have to be emotional. You know what I'm saying? A man is quick to want to solve the problem, and escalate it and start cursing and start flooding the chat as emotional. You know what I'm saying? A man is gonna say, let's have a conversation. Let's deal with it. It isn't my fault that when you quote a scripture, you quote it wrong. It's not my fault. So my job as a person that teaches the scriptures, I'm gonna check you on it. Not disrespectfully. I wasn't disrespectful, but as men, brothers, I've been wrong. And my brother Anthony can say, nah, Bolo, you did this wrong. Oh, no doubt. All right, thank you for that. We're not perfect. All of us are not going to know everything. But at the same time, what's so important is humility, like Bro C said. Humility is so important, because humility is what keeps you saying, damn, it keeps you grounded to know that, damn, I could be wrong. There was a time when Razik can check me and tell me if I'm wrong. There was a time that I told Razik that I would do something and I didn't. Do you remember that time, Razik?
I sure do, and I'm gonna hold you to it. But I ain't gonna speak on it.
Razik screamed on me. Now again, I understand, because Razik is a man that holds you to your word. Now he didn't understand what was going on my end, but after him and I had the conversation as men, did we understand each other, Razik?
Of course, you know what I'm saying. Of course, and I didn't get anything emotional. You know what I'm saying? Like we had to talk. You know what I'm saying?
Let's not even go there. The point of the matter is, a tumultuous conversation ended in two brothers saying, "Now we good." You feel what I'm saying? So even when things, even when the scripture says not the beginning of a matter that matters, the ending. Because sometimes things can start off rough. But when you have brothers that are determined to deal with each other in brotherly love, as Christ dealt with, you'll get to that point. But when it's about pride, I don't have prideful conversations. At least I try not to. Let me say that. At least I try not to have prideful conversations because that leads us nowhere. And a lot of the times when we're dealing with our wives, sometimes we do have prideful conversations because she might say something a certain way, you know what I'm saying? And you have to be like, yo, hold on. But we have to understand that when we're having conversations the same way we have with our children, the same way we have with every other person, it should not be not regulated to our wives, right? That we need to understand their perspective and where they're coming from. We need to understand their frustration. We need to understand and in understanding their frustration, then and only then will we know how to deliver the message that we need to deliver to them in the way that they need to get it. That's the whole point. The whole point doesn't mean that you're not going to admonish. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be stern. The point of the matter is that should not be your first go-to.
I do want to say that I think sometimes as women we can focus on the tone because we don't want to admit that what you're saying is right. So we make it about how you said it versus what you said because we don't want to say, wow, you're right. We want to take the role as the victim and make it about, oh, don't come at me like that or don't talk to me. I don't like how you're talking to me. But that's really not the issue. The issue is that we just don't want to admit that what you're saying to us is true. I'm not saying it's always okay to come at people crazy, but I'm just saying a lot of times we try to bypass that part. I don't know what that noise is.
I don't know. Somebody's got some background noise.
That was intellectual soapbox. I don't know what that was. Would you like to chime in on
Okay.
what that noise was?
That's me doing laundry in the house. You know what I mean? For a lot of people up in this crib, you know what I mean? Watching a lot of dirty
All
things
right,
up in
brother.
the house. You know what I mean? Let me say this real quick. Salute to everybody on the panel. You know what I mean? Salute to everybody here. You know, and I got something special for Brosi and Bolo TV. Some I was thinking about, you know, because I just talking about, you know, people winning and things of that nature. So, you know, it's something that I shared a little bit earlier, but I think I'm gonna share it again for y'all. You know what I mean? I think y'all may want to see this. I gotta definitely share this again. Definitely gotta share it again. I have to share it again.
Word. Yeah. Go ahead, bro. See.
Hey, I do have a question for all the men on the panel.
Razi, go ahead. I just want to say this one thing. I'm gonna drop down. I just want to say these brothers here are blessing us, man, with their time. You know, and showing people how to stay champions. Anybody can win a championship. You get a bum off the street, and he could be on a great team. He could be on the Warriors, anybody else, and win a championship. And we never see this guy ever again. Anybody can win a championship, but these brothers are teaching you how to stay champions, and that's the key thing. All right, learn how to stay a champion, and because they are champions for real. You know what I mean? Marriage to me is like winning a championship because it takes so much time, effort, and everything else. You have to put a lot to get married, right? You got to invite your family and get to know family and friends. It's a lot. It's a process, right? You and this person has to get along until you are married. Like, it's a whole bunch of stuff going on. You got to learn about the history and everything else, right? So, but how do you stay a champion? How do you stay married? And they're showing you how to stay married and how to stay a champion. Learn how to stay a champion. You know what I mean? Learn how to stay a champion because a lot of y'all can't even get through the phase one. You can't even get through phase one. So they trying to tell you how to get to phase one, phase two, phase three, everything else because they've been there and done that, and they still doing it. Learn how to really become a champion, stay a champion. That's all I gotta say, man.
Awesome,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. My question to you is in the men on the panel. And I just want to say that because you are gentlemen are a lot older than that. Well, I ain't gonna say a lot older, but you gentlemen are older than me. So I was always taught to respect my elders. You know what I'm saying? But without being too invasive, um, can you gentlemen to each highlight a time in your marriage or something with you personally that if you had the opportunity you would go back and do different. You know what I'm saying? Specifically pertaining to what I'm saying. In your marriage. You know what I'm saying? Without being too basic again.
Wow. Okay. So let me understand. You're saying is there something that I would do differently in regards to my marriage? Like if I was able to go back and change something, is
Yes,
that
sir.
what is that what
Yes,
you're
sir.
asking?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, I've started out by saying, yeah, if I could go back and change some things, I definitely would. In the beginning of my marriage and relationship with my wife, I had some issues, gentlemen. You see what I'm saying? And I had some things that I had not overcame yet. And it was my wife who loved me through those situations, you know, and helped me become a better person, actually. So if I could go back and change something, I would have wanted to be better prepared. You see what I'm saying? Because when I met my wife, it's like, God,
But
how are you going to put her in my face now? But I'm
better
not ready.
better prepare how though. Like if you can kind of elaborate like specifically, like better prepare how. What like financially, attitude wise, or what?
Well, you know what? I would definitely say, and I don't have a problem sharing this. I had some substance abuse problems, you know, early on in when I met my wife, and and it was things that I could hide because I was very functional. Do you see what I'm saying? And come to find out that she, got wind of what I was doing. You see, and so I had to really either choose my wife or choose the street. You see what I'm saying? And it would have been easy for me to go in the street and do what to continue to do what it was that I was doing. But if I could go back and change that particular aspect of my life, I definitely would. Now eventually I did make changes because, when what you do in the dark comes out to the light. And instead of this woman leaving me, you see what I'm saying? She saw something better in me. And because of that fact, I was able to straighten up, fly right. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I would say definitely that would be something that I would go back and change if I could. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yes, sir. It did. It did. Can the other men chime in and decide?
Let me take a swing at it. What I would change, well, this is me. I wouldn't, even though we went through some hard times, I wouldn't change anything because that's how you got the brother you got looking at you now. If I had changed anything, I think I might. Only thing I would wish is that God would have opened my eyes to the foolishness I was out there doing earlier. That's what I would wish for if I could go back and wish for something else. But I pretty much put myself in a lot of situations where my family had to deal with it. You know what I mean? So those are the type of things I feel bad about. But at the same time, uh, those things was the propulsion for me to try to change and be a better person. It wasn't that I was just an awesome person and I just said, man, I opened up the Bible, opened up the Quran, and I said, oh, I'm just gonna study my way into being this better person. It was a lot of different things that happened that I just couldn't. The math wasn't mathing. I thought I was having fun, but yet I was always sad. So how am I having fun and being sad? It shouldn't be like that, right? I should have what I was looking for was peace. Peace is like the universe, which is a constant state of orderly motion, right? You know where this is going to happen. You know this is going to happen. You know the sun's going to come up. You know this body is going to be in motion at this time. So peace is not still. It's not static. It's orderly motion, right? So that's what I was looking for. I was looking for peace in my life because I didn't have that peace because I had other. I would just to be honest, just to be straightforward. I was possessed. I was possessed. When I say possessed, I'm not talking spooky. I'm talking about I was overrun with desires that was outside of um, positive, bringing positivity into my household and into my own mind. Right? Just it was just, I was it was just. I mean, on the surface, I looked like I was functioning like Vaughn. I was functioning. I was a very functional dude. So on the surface, it looked like that, but I was toiling inside because I was had desires, and sometimes I would follow those desires, and sometimes I was strong enough not to, and I didn't want to be that way. I wanted to be like that. I know every time that's not going to be an issue with me, and so that when I got to the point where stuff started happening, and my God opened my eyes to be able to see the kind of person I was being and the unhappiness that the trail of unhappiness that I was bringing around. I mean, it would be happy sometimes, then the unhappiness and the happy sometimes unhappiness instead of the peace. Yeah, you're gonna have happy times, you're gonna have sad times, but when you fall all the way back, you fall all the way back to realize, hey, but this is the constant. The constant is the love we have between us, and we're gonna always try to get the team win. We always gonna try. That's the constant. You may have issues come up, but that's the constant, at least in my view. So if I was to go back, I would want to not have the hurt has gone on as long as it did, the confusion, the misunderstandings. But that's what made me the man I am today, and making me trying to be a better man. So God knows best, so I put it all in His hands. He's the best knower. So I put it all in His hands. But if I was to use my own judgment, I would say, man, God, I could have did this better. I could have did that better. I could have did this better. So yeah, but here's okay. This is the last thing. I wish I would have got. I wish I would have been humble earlier. I wish I would have been more humble earlier, meaning that I was humble enough to say to myself, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the issue here, because for so many years these kind of issues dragged on because I was able to fool myself to tell myself it was this. This is what the issue. That was the issue. This was the issue. Instead of saying to myself, I'm attracting this negativity to myself and to the people around, and radiating it to the people around me. And then, of course, they're going to pick up that negativity and multiply it out. And it's going to just multiply out from everybody that's coming in contact with me. So I had to think about that. And I wish I would have had that earlier. That's what I would, because I think I could have not, made them have to go through some of the things they had to go through with me at that point.
Okay, let me ask you this: did any of you brothers married have children out of wedlock before you got into marriage?
Not me.
No,
Not me.
no.
That's interesting.
But here's my thing too. I wish I would have been able to listen quicker, hear quicker, because that adds to knowing how to respond. Not a lot of the times when you're young and quick, you're quick, opposed to being young and earnest to hearing a person speak, opposed to jumping down someone's throat real fast. Because a lot of the times the answer, a lot of times is in a sentence that's being said. You just got to listen for it and know how to take it out and articulate it and bring it to the forefront so that there's an understanding that's brought. So, my early years, yeah, I wish I would have listened a lot more, heard a lot more, opposed to trying to answer before, hearing the whole situation. So, Took a little while to get there, but we did.
Or I appreciate all the answers. Appreciate it.
That was a very good question. You're on mute, brother Clarence.
Brother Clarence, you're on mute.
Can I ask him a quick question, Brother Bo? Let me ask
This
him a
ain't
quick
like the
question.
Bolo show.
Oh, maybe I should take over like Vaughn. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Can I ask him a question, Vaughn? Can I
Yes,
ask?
feel free, brother. Go ahead.
Okay,
Go right
let me
ahead.
ask brother. Let me ask good brother quick. Okay, brother Zeke. Now you asked us about having children out of wedlock. Was there a specific reason why you asked us that question, brother?
Yeah, because a lot of guys who I know, and forgive the expression, but they're just willy nilly. You know what I'm saying? Which is having you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just having sex. You know what I'm saying? Without even understanding the consequences of of having a child out of wedlock and what complications come with that. So, when all of the parents say no, that's why I responded with it. But that's interesting because a lot of guys who I come in contact with, like they all have kids, and almost none of them are married. So that's why I asked that because because my father always told me that that me and my sister were playing. You know what I'm saying? So and he always told me that from like an early age. So I took that premise and saying that what I mean, which is why I don't have a child yet. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I'm not where I need to be, especially what I'm saying, financially. Mentally, I'm the shit.
Smart.
You know what I'm saying? Mentally, I am that nigga. You know what I'm saying? But financially is what I need to work on. And a child is not even cheap to raise. You know what I mean? Especially in today's world, like you gotta have money. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta have a substantial structure. You know what I'm saying? That can, outlast. You know what I'm saying? Health problems, medical bills. You know what I'm saying? Anything that may come up. You know what I'm saying? So you just want to be, in a good place where you're able to take care of, things that can arise. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked that.
Smart, brother.
Yeah, yeah,
Say
yeah.
like
I was blessed. I was blessed when I met my wife. Neither one of us had kids. And that's quite rare. But yeah, neither one of us had kids. You know what I'm saying? And I was glad because I didn't want to deal with any baby daddies, and I'm sure she didn't want to deal with any baby mamas. So we were definitely blessed in that regard. And it wasn't basically because I was intentionally trying to hold out till marriage. I've had some situations that have arisen in my early youth, where the young lady decided to go and take care of situations. What happened?
Oh, you gotta see brother Clarence's face.
Oh, brother Clarence. Oh, yeah. I'm just being a little transparent, but
Now his eyes
yeah.
opened up. I can see his eyes through his glasses.
But yeah, but no, I was blessed in that regard, and I was glad about it too because basically that's what I had desired, and that's how it turned out. So yeah.
It's the beautiful thing in this stuff. The beautiful thing that I see in this is, Razik is in a very good position. He's in a very good position. Um, he's getting his mind right. He's stacking up, getting his bread right. He's knowing his worth, and he's taking his time. And what's
Hmm.
good about that is, you see the mistakes that we've made. Learn from the mistakes that we've made, so you don't make the same mistakes. Ask the questions, please. There is no dumb question. The only question that's dumb is the one you don't ask. Ask all the questions you have, brother. Even if you think it ain't even worth mentioning. Ask it because it may save you from making a mistake that we've made. in gathering information. That's the most important thing, man. Not being afraid. Question. Listen, asking a question is free. It costs you nothing. Either I walk away, or I don't answer you, or I give you the wrong answer, or I give you the correct answer. Asking questions is free.
Hey,
So ask.
Bolo, you know what's funny about that? Like, and
What's
see,
that?
I learned that early on because, and my dad is the opposite, and my dad is like 69, you know what I'm saying? And I think like, the way that I work and, what I'm saying, like the mindset that I have and the way, what I'm saying, that, like I'm on, because it's always a saying, they're saying that like, the son always pays for the sins of his of his dad. So it's like I think a lot of ways my dad is kind of like jealous in a lot of ways because he sees in me, what I'm saying, the difference in what I'm doing and how better, what I'm saying, things are turning out, what I'm saying, for me versus than how they turned out for him. You know what I mean? So in a lot of ways, when I try to tell my father, I'm like, yo, I learned this, or what I'm saying, I'm not doing it like that. My father be like, all right, son, I told you. If you don't do it like that, and my father is kind of like of the premise, like, happy wife, like happy life. And but the way I see it, like, yo, he's like miserable. You know what I'm saying? And and I love my step mom. She's cool. Like we have a like me and my stepmom are way more like we have a much better relationship than my biological mom. You know what I'm saying? So I talk to her a lot more. But, just the way I see him, as he's like getting older, what I'm saying? Like he's not Asian, but you know what I'm saying? And he's not flourishing well, you know what I'm saying, in his marriage. You know what I'm saying? Especially from a man's standpoint. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I
Well,
can see
listen.
them.
If anybody,
Right.
if anybody believes that cliche "happy wife, happy life," they're gonna go. They're gonna have a lot of heartache in their relationship, in their marriage. 'Cause no, happy wife, happy life. Hell no, no, doesn't go that way. So if
What about
anyone,
happy spouse, happy house?
Mm.
Yeah.
I
How
don't
about that?
believe all
Mm.
that.
They
How,
give me
how
that
about
yo.
that one?
Hey,
How
listen,
about
look,
that one, brother Clarence?
we serving chicken, shrimp, and steak dinners right now. I get you.
Look,
I
look,
get
look,
you a plate,
look. Happy spouse, happy house. Because
man.
we
I mean
both
that's
have to be. We both have to be
no,
at a place where we are content with each other.
absolutely,
You know what I'm saying? And
absolutely,
and it
absolutely.
just can't be one happy individual and the other one is miserable. Come on. You
I
see
I
what I'm
want
wanted.
to.
saying?
I want to
I,
give a. I want to give. I want to give a. I just want to give a quick something to Razik, man, real quick, because Razik, me and you can relate in a lot of ways, bro. Because like, and I think we relate in a lot of ways too, because like we face a lot of pain, based on how our parents raised us. Like, it's a lot of pain that they endured us through, and a lot of pain that we felt from the treatment. But we also learned a lot from them. You feel what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I think that like it's a double-edged sword. You feel me? So, um, you know what I mean? Like, I just want to commend you, man, for continuing to grow, continuing to just to be your best. You know what I mean? To be your best in the world. You feel me? No pun intended. But
Yes, sir.
for you to continue to do that, bro, because I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy doing that because I definitely feel a lot of what you feel, especially with my parents, because a lot of times, they just put us through a lot of shit. Things that we never even asked for. You know what I mean? Things that we didn't even want even a part of it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they don't realize what they've done. You know what I'm saying? Or what they didn't do. You know what I mean? So I just want to tell you, man, salute to you, Razik, man. Keep growing, keep doing your thing, and keep being, you know what I mean, all you can be, man, and being a better example than what was laid before you.
Yeah, indeed. I do want to say this too. Or George just asked. I guess when you were saying like happy spouse, happy house, and this is where I guess I got a lot of pushback, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like happiness is very fleeting. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a unsubstantiated uh You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like I remember when Nas said in one of his songs, he was like, "Is love a four-letter word that deceives the air?" You know what I'm saying? And it's like because you really can't substantiate that. You know what I'm saying? Like and a lot, and I'm on the premise like love is the action. So like
Right.
when women when you hear a woman say, "Okay, well, do you, you know what I'm saying, love me?" You know what I'm saying? And it's like, because I've had these conversations before, and my response would be, "Yeah, you know what I'm saying, I do." Well, I understand that I can love you know what I'm saying, a woman because I'm willing to die for her. That is the sacrifice. Like even in the Bible, you know what I'm saying, when it says, like Jesus, you know what I'm saying, sacrificed for him dying for the sins of mankind, right? That was the love that he had for mankind. So he gave his life. You know what I'm saying? Like he literally gave up the ghost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In order, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that in the context of, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I guess like this is where, benevolent dictator. And I tried to explain this to Queen, you know what I'm saying, a while back on some other panels where I was like, there's a difference between a dictator versus one that is a but
Leader.
benevolent, you know what I'm saying, dictator, because a benevolent dictator is one that, that moves in the interest of those that are under him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So, but a dictator is just one that'll just say, "Yo, jump off the bridge. I don't care." You know what I'm saying? And not caring for your well-being. You know what I'm saying? So, but
You got a little
do y'all have?
background noise, Bolo.
I'm sorry, but do y'all have any insight or agreement
Well,
or
you know what?
don't?
I would definitely say I agree with that. Happiness is very temporal. You know what I'm saying? Happiness is, I'd rather have joy than just happiness. I believe that joy is something that it has more of a longevity to it. Happiness, it comes and goes, you know. But when you have the joy of the Lord, that doesn't always just come and leave you like that. And a lot of times it's because of our circumstances, it's hard for us to experience that joy. But when we put our trust in God and dedicate our lives to Him, you know, and not only that, but be filled with His Spirit, like we used to sing back in the day. This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away. So to be happy is, okay, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. Happiness can be quite temporal at times. It comes and goes. You know what I'm saying? But then again, there's nothing wrong with happiness. It's not a curse word. It's not a bad word.
I don't think. I don't think. No, I don't think nothing is bad about it, but
Yeah,
just in the context of that, it's not
right,
sustaining. You know what I'm saying? It's
right.
just like I'm saying the song when it was like joy and pain,
Mm,
sunshine and
and
rain. You know what I'm
rain.
saying? Like you can't have one without the other. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
even when people, even like when you hear people talk about like I'm all positive energy. There's no such thing. Positive cannot
yeah.
exist without having I'm saying the opposite of it. Negative, good and evil.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That there's a yin to every yang. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But,
exactly. I
but
agree.
that's all.
I agree.
I think that here, see the happy wife, happy life thing. I think that that the intention is good there, but I'm like you, brother Wazik. I don't think that's sustainable. It's going to be hard to sustain that. We're gonna all I'm gonna do is work for one person to be happy, because that's if that one person is happy, then I'll be happy working for this one person to be happy. I'm more of a team guy. Let's work so the team wins. Let's work so the
Hmm.
team eats. Let's
Yeah,
work for the team to be happy. And so part in the piece I was talking about, that's going to be equivalent to the joy, right? Because joy is that you have your absence of surprises. You don't have to worry about the surprises affecting you, right? Because I got this man with me. I got this
That's right.
this Lord with me. I got the God wisdom with me. Whatever comes, like you
Right.
said,
And you can
what's the part
experience
for
that
joy?
joy even through pain and
Exactly,
rain
exactly,
and sad times. You can still experience that joy. So
right.
it's
So,
far it goes way beyond happiness, But
but I wanted
that's
to say that
semantical.
you're
But
gonna have points of happiness, right? You're gonna have
right,
points of you're gonna have a windfalls. Things gonna happen. Oh, you're gonna have a baby. Oh, baby's healthy. Oh, that's some windfalls. We take stuff like that for granted out here in the United States. How healthy babies. We take that stuff for granted, and you know what I mean. Having indoor plumbing, electricity. Take that stuff for granted. There's places out here on this planet they don't have stuff like that, right? And so, some of our parents come from places like that, right? So, the joy is in all of us working together. In my opinion, this is my opinion. The joy is from all of us working together. If I know I'm working for a goal, and I know you working just as hard for that same goal, and then so we're all working together towards the same goal, then I'm that gives me a sense of peace and joy to know that, hey, I'm not just out here swinging by myself, trying to pull the whole pull this cart all by myself. I got some help here, and that's just knowing that you got the help that can ease our minds. So that I feel like if your wife is happy, that's great. If she's happy, that's great. But at the same time, she should be working for your happiness, just like you working for hers, right? She should be, in my opinion, if you're doing things that like, you do certain things to make sure she's okay, you won't have to see like saying, "Hey, you got to submit." You never have to say nothing like that to no woman, especially if you're married to her. You never have to say nothing like that. If you're moving in the right direction, if you're moving right, you'll never have to say, "Hey, you got to submit to me. You ain't submitting to me."
yeah, I've never had to say that to my
That'll
wife
never happen.
at
That'll never
all.
come up.
Yeah,
At least in my opinion, that'll never
but
come up.
right,
But see where that comes from, Brother Clarence. That comes from your leadership.
There
You
you
see
go.
what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
there you go.
That's where it
amen,
comes
amen.
from leadership. Because remember, you guys are mirror reflections of each other. You know what I'm saying? More so her than you, as the husband, as the head, right? She's more of
That's
a reflection of you. So if what you have to understand is the way you lead is the way she's gonna follow. And again, it doesn't mean that you're always gonna
That's
be
a
right.
fact.
She doesn't. Your woman is not gonna trust in the plan. She's gonna trust in the man, and that's the point. Because a plan can fail. Plan can fail, but you know what? She knows the man. He's gonna get back up off his back,
a
and
good
he's
point.
gonna go out there and make it happen. And that's the whole point. And it goes back to it. Isn't this crazy? It goes back deja vu. It goes back to that one word we were talking about earlier: trust. You gotta build that trust. Because once I build that trust with my brother, I ain't gotta question him. There's no question. And understand what I'm saying, question. His character doesn't mean that I don't question something that he does, but his character I'm not going to question because I know he has integrity. You dig what I'm saying? And that's the same thing when we're talking about relationships, talking about marriage. A lot of the time when you're telling this woman to submit and follow, what is she following? What is she submitting to? Submission is a choice. Obedience isn't. Obedience towards the Lord is no choice. We have to do that. But her submitting to you is a choice. So you have to give her something to submit to. So when you have that Christ like leadership, there is no other answer but submission. Anything other than that, she gonna question. She has every right to do so because she's gonna stamp her flag to you and follow you wherever you go. So we gotta respect that also. Gotta respect that also because Christ wasn't a dictator. He was not. He wasn't a czar, a warlord. He wasn't that. He was everything that he needed to be to his wife Israel. Everything. Everything. Patient, loving, forgiving, understanding, long suffering, all these things he was and is. And he tells us to do the same. To do the same. Now that doesn't mean that you're not stern because Christ was stern. He was an awesome man. understand where it comes from. When you're stern, it's like your children. When you love your children and you're stern, they understand where it comes from as they get older. They may not understand it when they're young because they want to do what they want to do. But as they get older, they understand structure. They understand why you had those rules. Even when you become a father, you sit there and go, now I understand why Dad did what he did. I got a clear understanding of it now. So it's a tandem walk, man. It's reciprocity. And understand that marriage in which Christ gave us the example of is what marriage is supposed to be here on earth. When you try to change it, this is when things get out of order like it is now. You're trying to add different, equations to this already perfect equation that needs not to be changed. Nothing needs to be added to it. So all you need to do is do what you need to do as a man, focus on him and understand what marriage is for. It's for me to come together with my wife and her to come together with her husband and both of us serve the Father. That's what marriage is. Nothing more, nothing less. It's not something personal for us. It's for us to serve him together.
Let
Guys,
me
I
let me let me drop one quick analogy. I'm gonna go ahead and fall back to, and Bolo can kind of speak to this as well. But in Islam, and particularly the NOI, and you might have heard knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? But when you look at it, knowledge is the man, wisdom is the woman, and understanding is the child. So, so just like you got sun, moon, and star, the man is the sun. He shines upon, the earth. He gives light, to the earth. The woman is like water, So it's like, the earth revolves around the sun. So going back to Bolo's point, by you shining your light, that earth or that woman is going to come within your circumference and she's going to stay in perfect harmony, with the rotation of the sun and the distance from, those. So, the sun is 93 million miles away from the earth. So that's in perfect harmony in order for life to exist. So the same way, you look at, the star being the child. So that's like the perfect harmony of the united, family. You got man, woman, and child. So that's just, a different way that you can kind of look at it. So by you being the sun, your woman is the earth, and your seed is the star, and every star is a potential earth, or another planet that is being born with knowledge being brought forth, to be taught.
can I just say this one thing and then I gotta bounce, guys? Listen, not every man is gonna be a husband, not every man is gonna be a father. But the one thing every man is gonna be is a child of God. Not every woman is gonna be a wife, not every woman is gonna be a mother. But the one thing she's always gonna be is a child of God. So when you're a child of God, whether you're a husband, father, stepfather, whatever you want to do, being a child of God, being a man of God transcends through all those things. Same as being a woman of God, whether you're a mother or a wife. At the end of the day, what transcends all of that is being a woman of God. Now, together, it's like a triangle, right? God is at the top, each of us is at the other side. When we connect and she connects with us, knowing that, okay, this is the man that I'm going to follow because he's following God. Same way when the Lord tells you, wives, submit unto your husband that you will submit unto Christ, right? The reason why she is submitting to you is because of whom you represent. She's not submitting to you. She's submitting to whom you represent because you are supposed to be a man of God and vice versa. You're not submitting to her in that aspect because she's supposed to be a woman of God. So she is connecting with you in that aspect, and together you guys serve him, and that is the marriage. That is the marriage. Anything other than that, it's going to go left. Your marriage has to be bigger than you. It has to be about him. It has to be about him. Your understanding has to be about him. It has to be bigger than you. Your love, your patience when it comes for your brothers, for your sisters, it has to be greater than you because man's patience is short. I guarantee you man's patience is short. But when you emulate our Lord and Savior, this is when you can sit back and go, okay, let me refocus and go back in and have this conversation and find out where it went left and deal and try to figure this thing out and get there. So with that, man, listen, hey Vaughn, thank you for having me, man.
Hey man, I'm just so
Pleasure
glad,
meeting
man, that you could stop by
you,
and
man.
be a part of the stream, man.
Listen, if you need me, I'm here. Brother Clarence, you know I love you, man.
Love you,
You know
brother.
what I'm saying?
Yes, sir, brother Bolo.
You know, the China trophy. You know, you can wear a belt once in a while. Just don't let me see you wear it. All right?
Hey, you going over to you going up right tonight?
I am. I'm about to go up right now.
Okay, I'm getting my phone so I can text you. Okay, cool.
I know you will.
Make sure you was going up, brother.
Man, I love his show, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I
And
think,
I'm gonna make sure you get. I'm gonna make sure I text you right when you're on a roll too. I'm gonna make sure you're on a roll. Then I'm
and I
gonna
will respond to you when I'm on the roll. Razik, we got to catch up, my brother. Mahalash.
Yes,
All right,
sir. Indeed.
All right, brother Bolo. Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, listen, I got some things I need to tend to as well. So maybe we can get some closing remarks. And
No,
I
I
think
don't.
I thought it was a very great conversation. What'd you think,
No.
brother Clarence?
very productive. Very productive.
Yeah,
Very
I thought
productive.
so. I thought so. Little
Everybody who
bumps
came
in
on
the
the
road
panel
there.
definitely did a great job. Everybody
Yeah,
did a great
little
job.
bumps in the road here and there, but that's to be expected. But overall, great conversation, brother Razik. Man, I really appreciate your perspective, man. I gained a lot from what you were saying. And my sister Queen, man, how are you? It's
I'm
not
good.
often that we're on the same panel together.
I know. I know. I popped in. I wanted to support. So
Wow, thank you so
yeah.
much.
I don't like to participate in buffoonery. So this
Yeah,
was very good.
thank you. Well,
Very
that's what
good
we.
discussion.
Yeah,
Just like
yeah.
you just gotta learn. Um, I always look at, my parents and I say, 6 kids. Well, they had 8. There was 2 miscarriages and 2 dogs and the house and whatever, property, whatever, financial stress, life stress. I felt like despite what they went through, I felt like they understood that they needed each other. And it was a team effort, you know. Um, and they understood what they were good at, meaning their strengths. So if my dad's strength was, cooking, he cooked. My mom's strength was this. She did that. I felt like there was I don't know what happened in the beginning because I'm, like I said, it's 6 of us. So, but I felt like I saw a team. That's what I always saw. I saw arguments. I mean, I saw stress and drama, but I always felt like if they came back, then they worked together as a team. And I don't feel like
Mhm.
egos or, I never felt like, I always felt like my father was the man. Like he wore the pants, he led the house, and they just worked as a team, you know. She worked during the day, he worked at night. So he took care of things. So when she got off work, the, the house was clean, and dinner was cooked and he prepared us. And then when she got home, she took care of us and took care of him when he got home. I'm like, I just felt like it was a
And
team. It was
yeah, they work together. Yeah,
yeah, like I felt like
yeah.
they meshed well. Like they knew they were fluid with each other and it wasn't restrictive. Because
Right,
when you're
right.
restrictive, you crack. And I think a lot of times we look at all the marriages that aren't working and then we base those on and say, oh, well, if your marriage is working, that you lying, you capping, you this, you that, you're a simp, you this. And it's not true. It's just you're focused on the ones that aren't working instead of looking at the examples of the ones that are working. You know? So, yeah. And early on, I would get phone calls from married women, and my husband would call and say, hey, she tripping. And I would get a phone call or picked up and say, hey, you coming to dinner with me? I need to talk to you about some things. So yeah, I got help real quick all the time.
Awesome.
So,
That's
but yeah.
awesome.
But see,
Wow. Well,
Razi, see, Razi, you talk about who you are, casual conversation, great conversation. You know what I mean? Like you're not this firecracker all the time. You know what I mean? So I just want to say that.
But again, I'm
It,
gonna just say, and
it's
this is why I always say
it's
context is
con it
everything.
is. But
Context
it's
is
also
everything.
what you bring to a conversation. You can be peaceful and have a hard conversation. You know what I mean? Like that's the difference. Like I don't have to be a fire and cause a 3 alarm blaze everywhere I go.
But
I could
again,
just be the I could just
you're
be the wind.
not a man though. Again,
I'm
you're
not I'm
not
not
a man.
talking. It has nothing to do with gender. I'm just saying when
It
you have a
does.
conversation. Okay, you know what? Never mind. You're right. You guys have a good night. I am not going there. Lord help us all. Have a great night. Thank you so much because it's
thank
ridiculous.
you.
Anyway, all
What's
right.
up?
Bye.
All right, my sister.
But hey,
Well,
look,
well,
but
there you
see,
have it.
but see, Vaughn, like, and
Yes,
see,
sir. Go
and
ahead.
this is why I am the way I am, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because regardless of what, you know what I'm saying, women are, and I said this, you know what I'm saying, before, and and this is where I've learned, you know what I'm saying, to gain my own you know what I'm saying, perspective of marriage and relationships, you know what I'm saying, by watching what other men or how they act and differentiating, you know what I'm saying, between certain men versus, you know what I'm saying, the others. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Because,
Hmm.
you know, and and this is the ill dynamic between men and women. You know what I'm saying? It really showcases itself every time when men and women are having a joint, you know what I'm saying, conversation about
Hmm.
a particular, you know what I'm saying, subject. And you always hear, you know what I'm saying, some women are going to say, well, why do y'all act like this? Or if I was, you know what I'm saying, and this is why I always, you know what I'm saying, push back and say, okay, well, you're not a man. Not to, you know what I'm saying, play them, but to illustrate the difference. You know what I'm saying? We're never going to see eye to eye on this. I am, you know what I'm saying, who I am what I am, and I'm going to react and carry myself and talk in a certain manner. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
About
Yeah.
certain, you know what I'm saying, conversations in the context and to, and again, it's all about, you know what I'm saying, substantiating your argument. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Right.
With
Because
you know
I
what I'm
was going to
saying?
say, you can do all of that and still get an understanding.
Yeah. I
You
definitely
know what I'm
agree.
saying? All the
Yes,
things
sir.
that what you just said, and I agree. But you can still get an understanding, even though you are who you are, and you see what I'm saying. But I do agree. Sometimes women have a different approach to their perspective than men do. So that goes without saying. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, how do we relate to each other? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a man, so I have my ways. You're a woman. She has her ways. So how do we come together and blend? See,
Well, I can
that's the good
answer that
question
though.
right there.
I can answer that though.
Yeah, but that's what we've been talking about,
Well,
throughout the stream.
how you do that is based upon the man. Like, and this
Okay,
is why I
okay,
put all of the blame on the man. You know what I'm saying? Like the men are always going to get it the harshest because we are the leaders.
right.
Like it is obligatory upon us to
Hmm.
carry it a certain way. And you see it in the past, since 10 to 15 years, how it's progressively gotten worse because the men are not upholding their obligatory duties. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? You can't sway like the wind. You know what I'm saying?
I
That's
agree.
their job.
Amen.
That's their job.
Amen. I
And
agree.
then
I
and
agree.
then and then we don't get mad and saying, okay, well, when you know what I'm saying, when you're acting like this, we already
Right.
know how they are. That's how they're biologically made. That's how God created them, and that's the direct contrast to how we are. You know what I'm saying, created. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like you look at it like, you you know, we stand up, you know what I'm saying, Pete. They, you know what I'm saying, sit there, you know what I'm saying, down. They bleed once a month. We don't. They are the direct opposite
Thank
of
God for
us.
that.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, but going back to, you know what I'm saying, and your point though, like, when you ask that question, and it's a great, you know what I'm saying, question when you say, well, how do we become relatable? It's to understand that we are the direct opposite of each other.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And we need
May,
to
may, I, may
operate.
I chime in, Mr. Bryant, whenever I can?
Yeah, go right ahead, man.
I don't want to cut away from point, but I just want to give some clarification on some things. And I think as men we have to stop giving excuses, for women when they're not in order. Okay, what I mean. Just like we hold men and we tell men to be in order, women have to be in order too. What I mean. A functioning household has to be orderly all the way around. It cannot be just on the man. It cannot just be on the woman. They both have to be orderly. And if one person is out of order, then guess what? The household is going to fall apart. It's not going to be able to stand. What I mean? That woman has to be there to be the helper in that relationship just as much as the man does. And if she is out of order and she is not playing her role, then guess what? That household is going to fall apart. It's going to fall
Yeah.
apart. Because after a while, you're going to get tired of her not doing what she's supposed to do. You know what I mean? And the same thing for a man. Sorry for the noise, y'all. That's my laundry. Same thing for a man. If he's out of order, that woman gonna get tired of that. You know what I'm saying? And it has to be on both. You know what I'm saying? It has to be on both. And in a functional relationship, it is on both. You know what I mean? And a true woman is going to have understanding of what you're trying to go through, and she's going to figure out what you're going through. And a true man is going to do the same thing for a woman. You know what I mean? It has to be a cohesive unit. If it's not a unit, then it will fall apart. Trust me, it will. I done
Well, I
seen
would
people,
agree. I
man.
would definitely agree with that.
Exactly. I done seen people married for 30, 20, 15, 1 year. I done sat in groups with men and women like this. You know what I mean? Whether it's religious groups or outside of that. And the one thing that's constant, you know what I mean? Because I've been doing this thing for a long time. The one thing that's constant is everybody has to play their part. And if both people ain't playing their part, it ain't gonna work. I'm just gonna be completely real with y'all. So
And,
What?
look, I'm gonna add this, and I'm going. And another thing I learned from you, saying y'all, is that the same way that you finish with her, or the same way that you start with her, is the exact same way that you're going to end. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
you can't switch up the game plan in the middle of the relationship. You know what I'm saying? As far as like how you act, how you conduct, how you move. You know what I'm saying? Like, because women are only able to be like, they're not able to be like dimensional and to see outside of themselves. They only see their experiences, their, what I'm saying, circumstances. They only, like, and I've learned this, like, women are very narrow, what I'm saying, minded. They can only see inside the tunnel. They can't see outside of that. They can't. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is why I say, like, the same way you start off with her is the same way you are going to end. You know what I mean? So if you meet her on OnlyFans, that's how it's going to end. If you meet her in the strip club, that's exactly how it's going to end. You know what I'm saying? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? If you meet her in the club,
It's
that's
a lot of
exactly how it's going,
listen.
going to end.
It's a lot of truth to that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. If you met her during a promiscuous state, and you know how people are in the club. They like to hop from here to there. You see what I'm saying? You I don't know what type of trust you can build at that point. You know, but one thing I will say, just to add to what Brother Razik is saying, is that you know as you mature in a relationship, both parties should be growing. In other words, you're growing together. See what I'm saying? So the first 3 years, you know this about each other. But as you mature, you begin to learn other things about each other. See what I'm saying? And there's some changes that may be made as a result of getting more mature in your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you got married at a young age and now you're an older person. You see, older people think a little bit different. I don't think like I did when I was a teenager. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like you grow together with your spouse. You grow together, and you learn and you continue to learn different things about each other. as you go along. Now, he mentioned that you don't switch it up. I agree with that because, in a lot of these relationships, you hop into it too quick. And guess what? It's kind of like a bait and switch. You see what I'm saying? Well, she was one way in the beginning, and then several months down the line, she just switched it up on me, and now she's a whole different person. And this happens a lot of times too, which could cause a demise of a relationship as well. So consistency, I believe somebody in the chat put that word up there, is definitely a key in a relationship. You have to be consistent. You see what I'm saying? You have to be consistent in order to have longevity. So, yes, Brother Clarence, I think we're going to do some. Yeah, we're going to do some closing remarks if we can, and then we'll close the show out.
Okay.
But
let me just say a little bit more about Brother Razik. Okay, how you get them is pretty much how they're probably going to stay. Probably, unless you have some type of way to put pressure on them to change. If you don't, then they could hide, and then one day they want to go back to the street. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people get married, right? They meet each other in the strip club, meet each other in a bar, meet each other in the club, or in the street or whatever, some type of nefarious place, and they say, "Hey, let's try to get together." And they got good intentions. Right? But in today's world, it's so wicked. People get bored so quickly with doing good, and they are more satisfied with doing wickedness. We just being real, right? So now if you turn on your TV or you turn on the internet, wickedness is made to look like it's fun. They make wickedness fun. It's always looked fun, but they really make it look fun now, right? So one of you, maybe your wife, may get enchanted by some wickedness they see, and somebody may fall down. So things happen in a marriage, right? People have affairs and things. Things happen, but because somebody either got disenchanted or enchanted by some other lifestyle or something like that, or they just get bored in the situation. My thing is marriage is like always adjustments. That's the constant in marriage. Adjustment. You're constantly adjusting. Oh, we got a new child. Okay, we got.
it's always an adjustment. Exactly.
Always an adjustment.
And it doesn't stay the same. It does not stay the same.
Money? And it's always an adjustment. Always an adjustment.
Always in a change.
There's something that is coming that has come up. That is the constant in marriage. Yes, sir.
But Clarence, the caveat is that she is going to adjust, not you.
No, you don't have to
that's the cap. No. And look, and this is where we're going to agree, and we can probably pick this up, and I'll be gladly saying, and I ain't gonna hold, but I'm telling you, your brother, you are emphatically wrong on this. Whether or not if you I'm not saying that there isn't going to be an adjustment somewhere in the relationship. I'm saying that you make the adjustment, and she's going to adjust to you. The woman moves to your beat of your drum. That's it. That's all I'm saying.
But here's what I'm saying. I want to make sure that we're on the same page on this, and you could tell me if you feel differently. What I'm saying is, coming into the marriage, you may have a whole different ideology of what this actually, what the reality of this actually is, and then after 5 or 6 years, you realize what's all involved. Then you come into a more realistic ideology. So you may tweak things. Now, am I saying you tweak how you are as a person? You might have to tweak that. You might have to tweak, okay, I can't be come down like a ton of bricks every time. What? Who left the top off the toilet paper? Or who left the top off the toothpaste and come down like a ton of bricks on that, right? That might be a little too much. Or I have to adjust some things. I might have to adjust some things so that we can have the team win, right? I might have to do so that's what I'm saying, brother. You're not gonna change your righteousness. Your righteousness stays righteous, and you always trying to improve it. You're always trying to improve your righteousness, man. You want your sacrifice to be good. Like Abel made a good sacrifice, and he was always searching to try to make a good sacrifice. No matter what, he was still trying, still trying, still trying. That's how we are as the husband and as the man. We try to make the situation better and better and better. Now, does that mean we acquiesce to her and her every little demand? No. Part of us being good is the fact that we're going to be able to have to tell her no. Sometimes you got to tell them no. You can't do that now. We can't afford that now. That's not going to work. And you have to see them stomp away. But we have to be strong enough to be able to resist that and be able to say, oh, hey, this is not going to work right now. But what we trying to do, okay, you said you wanted to go to Orlando for 2 weeks. Okay, we can't do what you're trying to do right now if that's what you want to do. Because we got to put this money away or whatever. Or
understood. Hey, Clarence, look, you already know time is fleeting, man. And I think Mr. Bryant is trying down the close, but hey, look, no, but look, and you have great, you know what I'm saying, points. Hey, look, I'll be glad, you know what I'm saying, to go back and forth, and I think we are saying the same thing.
Yeah,
of course.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
I'm just, I guess, I don't. In a sense, I know Mr. Logic always says this. I don't negotiate. You know what I don't
with
negotiate.
terrorists.
I tell you what,
I think he says with terrorists, right?
Brother Wazee, let us talk about it we will meet back here.
Yeah,
or meet back
it'll be
on
good for
relationship,
another
and
conversation
we'll
for
talk
sure.
about it at another time.
Yes, sir,
You made
indeed.
your points
Yes, sir.
yourself. You made
Yes, sir,
great
indeed.
points yourself. So let's
Yes,
do
sir.
that.
Wow. Well,
Yes, sir.
gentlemen,
I mean, hey,
listen.
look, it's all love, but I ain't gonna hold y'all, man. Y'all have a great evening. You know what I mean? I definitely appreciate the invite and allowing me to add some value. You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
y'all have a good evening. All right.
Appreciate you, brother Razik. You have
Yes,
a
sir.
blessed evening.
You too. All right.
All right, big brother.
All right. And here we are.
All right, man.
Wow.
What do I
Okay.
need to
So
do, Vaughn? How do you close out, man? You just kick me off.
listen, I've never closed out before. So, I don't know if I'm gonna do the rundown or the bonus round or, I'm not gonna do all
Well,
that.
I'm gonna say
I
this,
got to
brother.
get
I'm
out of
gonna
here.
get out of here. I'm gonna make it real easy for you. Thank you for having me come up. Thank you, 84, for coming to get me and bringing me over. I had a good time, man, with my brothers. I appreciate them, and we agreed to disagree, agreed, and then we disagreed and disagreed, but it was all in love, man. So thank you, brother Vaughn Bryant, for having your brother up here. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Hopefully I
man.
can visit you again.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes, sir. I
so
don't know when the next time will be, but
yeah, in the future,
but
man.
we'll see. Yeah, we'll see for sure.
All right,
Thank you, brother
brother.
Clarence, man.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you. And
God bless.
as always, I'm
Yes,
trying to be
sir.
like you are for me, man. If you call me, I'm coming. All right.
Yeah, we support each other, man. That's what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother. I'm gonna
right,
take
brother.
off, man, as we close the show. Thank you, brother. Peace and blessings.
All right, peace and blessings. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another great conversation. Brother Bolo did his thing, and man, brother Clarence, I was so glad to see these brothers up on the panel with me. Brother Razik did an excellent job, and Sister Queen, oh my God, I very rarely get to be on a panel with her, so I was kind of excited about that. We did a good job in the chat. The chat pretty much kept it respectful. I'm saying we probably could do a little better in that area, but great conversation. Again, just thank you all for tuning in. If you have not subscribed to the Intellectual Soapbox, I would suggest that you do it. They have great content. If you haven't subscribed to Knowledge and Relationships, go over there and see if that's the type of content that you enjoy. Brother Clarence, he has a channel as well. Let's Talk the Better Black Life. Quite often I'm over there, so you can see me over there quite a bit. And listen, I guess my closing remark would just be to love one another. You see what I'm saying? Let's try to get an understanding somehow. Everything doesn't have to be an argument all the time. And even if we're in a disagreement, we can agree to disagree, but at the same time, let's do it in love. You see what I'm saying? And do it also in respect. Let's always respect each other at all times. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next adventure. Good night.
The DJ.